It is a crucible for collaboration. It is a platform designed to spark difficult questions, fosters cross-border partnerships, and ignite the ideas that will shape our collective future. Over the next 2 days, we will have the privilege of engaging in thought-provoking plenaries, insightful parallel sessions, and dynamic networking events. I encourage you to consider your comfort zone, to talk to someone from a different country or discipline, and to build the connections that last long after we return home. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. The lighting of lamp signifies the dispelling of ignorance and the illumination of knowledge, wisdom, and truth. Now I request our dignitaries on the dais to light the lamp and formally inaugurate the International Conference on Responsible Artificial Intelligence. I request all of you to please stand up.
Krishna, ikkada hinda bani height adi hinda
शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः.
Voice is simply faster, more natural.
Thank you, everyone. May this light May this light bring auspiciousness and well-being, health and wealth, and remove all negativity and harmful thoughts. We are grateful to have with us Professor S.R. Niranjana Sir, who is a former Honorable Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University and he is present Vice Chairman of Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Bengaluru. A visionary academic leader who has played an important role in shaping higher education policy in our state. Now I request Dr. Shivshankar Sir, co-convener of ICRAI 2025, to introduce Professor S.R. Niranjana Sir. I'm sorry. I request Vijay Kumar Sir to introduce Professor S.R. Niranjana Sir.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. A warm good morning to everyone. Welcome to ICRAI 2025. It is my privilege to introduce our chief guest and distinguished personality, Professor S.R. Niranjan Sir. Sir is presently working as Vice Chairman, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Government of Karnataka. and he is honored with Distinguished Professor from University of Mysore for lifelong. Sir is a former Vice Chancellor of Gulbarga University during the period 2015 and 2019. Niranjan sir was born in the year 1959, July 20th, at Bahadur Ghatta, Chitradurga district, Karnataka. Niranjan sir started his teaching career as lecturer from University of Mysore in the Department of Biotechnology from 1992. He worked as lecturer from 1992 to 1997, then senior lecturer from 1997 to 2003, and professor from 2003. Sir, research area includes biological control, molecular database for seed, bole pathogens, mycotoxins, chemical biology, biotechnology. Sir is recipient of many awards and recognition. Fellow of National Academy of Science, India, Fellow of National Academy of Agricultural Science, Fellow of National Academy of Biological Science, Fellow of Indian Phytopathogenical Society, National Academy of Agricultural Science Recognition Award, Dr. Raja Ramanna State Award for Scientist, Government of Karnataka, recipient of Sir C.V. Raman State Award for Young Scientist, Government of Karnataka, Fellow of Danish International Development Agency, Denmark, Fellow of Karnataka Science and Technology Academy, Department of Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka, Sir M. Vishweshwarya Award, Government of Karnataka, Sir C.V. Raman Birth Centenary Award, Kolkata, Professor S.S. Chahal Lifetime Achievement Award, K.C. Mehta Memorial Award, New Delhi, N. Prasad Memorial Lecture Award, Fellow of Indian Society of Mycology and Plant Pathology, Udaipur, he has been President of Indian Society of Mycology and Plant Pathology, Udaipur, recipient of VP Bide Memorial Award, PP Single Memorial Pesticide of India Award, Indian Phytopathological Society Best Research Award, Seed Health for Agriculture Development Best Research Paper Award, PR Verma Award. So these are his recognitions, awards, and Sir has given research guidance to many students, 21 PhD scholars, 2 postgraduate, 40 MPhil students. Sir is author of many books and articles. 200 plus articles are there, out of which 113 are international, 45 are national, with H-index of 43, citations of 6,545, and he is having 4 patents under his name, 2 international and 2 national. He has organized many conferences, more than 10 conferences, and so he has been in principal investigator of many sponsored projects with more than 22 crores. So with this, I conclude my introduction of our chief guest, S.R. Niranjan sir. Welcome to the function, sir. Thank you very much to one and all.
Thank you, sir. We have with us N.Y. Mattihal sir, who is the Registrar of Evaluation, Karnatak University Dharwad. Sir, please come on the stage. Sir, please occupy. I request Dr. Ishwar Baidari sir to welcome N.Y. Mattihal sir with a bouquet. Please give a big round of applause. Now I call upon Professor S.R. Niranjan sir for the inaugural address.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಆಲ್ ಆಫ್ ಯು. Karnataka University Dharwad, Department of Computer Science is organizing an international conference on responsible artificial intelligence, ICRAI 2025, in association with the many universities, and also very important is a Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. During this occasion, the program is presiding by Professor A.M. Khan, is my good friend and a academician, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnatak University Dharwad. Today the guest of honor, another good friend of mine, Professor P.L. Dharma, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University, Mangalore, and Professor B.D. Kumbar is my best friend, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Davangere University. And then the convener of this program is Ishwar Vedari, and co-convener Dr. Shiv Shankar S. And the off the dais, many professors are there. I don't want to take all of your name. Professor Mulemani is my good friend, and Vishwanath, Kadradev Bhatt, P.M. Suresh from Mangalore University, Sheshadri, Chairman of Computer Science, Vijay Kumar, and other professors. All I will not be able to take the names, and all the professors of this prestigious great university. My dear colleagues and friends and other dignitaries, and many people are the dais also, and I have not taken all the names. So I welcome all of you for this very important event of Dharwad University. Professor Khan assuming a charge as a new Vice Chancellor of this university. I heard that it's the third conference he is organizing. And the academic leader should always think on a platform which is sending some message to the academicians. That kind of a programs in the university. That's what I am telling to all the Vice Chancellor of my colleagues. And it is a great opportunity for me also, for the university also. All the three Vice Chancellors are sitting there. And I am the Karnataka State Higher Education Council is a policy making body and advisory body for the higher education institutes and the government. So we are sitting in between. So three Vice Chancellors are there, academicians are there in the front line, and the students are there. We are all academic leaders. There is no hierarchy of a Vice Chancellor or the professors and the students. We are moving in the same boat, all of us. We are all academic leaders, academicians. And you are also master degree students. You are also a great academicians who are joining a group of academicians. That you have to keep. Whenever we are addressing a student of master degree, we never considered you as a students. We are considered you as a future academician, taking part, uplifting the academic in the country. What is the status? Where we are now? As far as global competition, a global status, a national status and the global status differs from the students. My dear students, we have started our education system from Gurukula. Today we are reaching the artificial intelligence. Gurukula to artificial intelligence. In a 75 years of history. 75 years. When we started our education system, we are compared the Indian universities to the foreign universities. Angesh is a good friend of mine, he is sitting here. And recently, all three of us, and including me and University of Mysore Vice Chancellor, we have gone round of 13 top universities in UK. We are visited recently in the last September, along with your Vice Chancellor. And we had a very nice opportunity to visit those universities. A great universities in UK, well establishment, well academic ambience, disciplined students. I'm not telling that you are not disciplined. Disciplined students. That means, disciplined student means there is some discipline in education. ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣದಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಬಹಳ ಅಗತ್ಯ ಅಂತ, ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ. ಕಲಿಯೋದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ, ಕಲ್ತಿರೋದು ಸೆಕೆಂಡ್ರಿ. ಡಿಸಿಪ್ಲಿನ್ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅನ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಷಿಯನ್. ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಎ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅದರ್ಸ್. Academics should be a model for others. My dear students, we started the education system in this country from Nalanda Taksasila University. Interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary is not a new concept. Multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary, today we are speaking, but those days Nalanda Taksasila universities have started the interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary concept. Today we are talking on the multidisciplinary. Of course, I don't want to speak at this hour the state education policy or the national education policy. State, we have brought the state education policy framework and we are introduced from this semester in undergraduate. A state education policy report has been submitted to the government and now government is thinking to implement it and it is reviewing now. I am the part of that policy and now we have made the review of that recommendation. That is a 6-volume recommendation as given by Professor Thorer. He was the chairman of the state education policy. But what is the important today, what we are looking for? What the ancient histories are doing, what the global is thinking on that. What is the global exposure, global education system, how it is going. That's what the skilled education is so important for the students to learn it. It is the need of the hour to go for the skilled education. So we have visited 13 universities. What I mentioned that wherever I go, wherever you go, all the universities are concentrating on the artificial intelligence, machine learning, computer vision, economics. Every student should learn every subject. That's what interdisciplinary knowledge is very important today. I don't want to pressurize you to learn an economic student biology. A biology student should not learn the economics. That is not the concept here. Concept is to try to understand the philosophy of the subject. At least what is that particular subject? That's what the transborder subjects is important as an elective paper, and we are introducing the undergraduate skilled papers along with the languages. That means that the students have to expose for the language and the skill. What kind of skilled papers are there? What is skilled? Today we are talking on the micro-credentials. Micro-credentials are so important. What are the micro-credentials? Of course, Professor Kumbar is sitting here. Government of Karnataka has taken an initiative of introducing a skilled courses in 8 universities. Now we made it as a 13 universities. Almost we are covered around 2 lakh students for the skilled education. Karnataka Skill Development Council has come forward and they are invited the industries and we made an MOU. The MOU, the industry will come and teach the students and assess the students. Industry academia is very important today. Artificial intelligence you are going to learn all the 2 days. But what I am speaking now, that's what is the need of the hour in education, what is important, what is not important. Today the student-teacher ratio. When you take the Nalanda Taksasila, 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers. What is the status today? 10,000 students and 2,000 teachers. Today we are not in that stage. Because there is a lot of constraints in appointing a teacher. Universities are lagging behind with the experts. But whatever is possible, today's students, that's what everybody is a self-assessment. A teacher is a facilitator. Teacher will come and teach and go. And what is the duty of a student? Student should not remain as a learner. Student should not remain as a learner. Student should think on that, how to update the information which facilitated by a teacher. So that is the most important part what we are taking today, my dear students. This country, last 75 years, we have achieved many things. We have succeeded in satellite mission. We have succeeded in nuclear. We have succeeded in vaccines. You know that last co-vaccine, a Covishield, we have found in our own country medicine. We are sustained and we are immunized today. That's what you are sitting here today. We should be proud. We have developed our own vaccine. This country has progressed. And we have come from green revolution to green revolution today. We were in 1960, this country was faced a problem in 1947, my dear students, you should know the history. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಬಾಬಾ ಸಾಹೇಬ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಗೊತ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಇತಿಹಾಸ ಸೃಷ್ಟಿ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. In 1948 we have taken the independence from British. The country was facing a very big problem of three. One is the communication. There was no communication. There was no mobile phone. There was no, you have to book a trunk call by that time to meet a people, to talk to a people. Then second is the food security. Food security was not there. Then third was the poverty. These three were hitting in 1948 after the independence. You know the M.S. Swaminathan. M.S. Swaminathan is a father of green revolution of this country. He has brought the very revolutionary steps in the improving the hybrid varieties in 1960. So those varieties we are sustained with the food. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ 5 kg ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ, 7 ಅಂತ ಇರ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ, that is the contribution of M.S. Swaminathan. Students must know the history of who is M.S. Swaminathan. You must know the history of many people who are contributed to this country in the field of science, in the field of economics, in the field of technology development. So M.S. Swaminathan brought that technology in 1940, 1960. So 13 years, the first Prime Minister of Jawaharlal Nehru was faced the problem of this country after taking the independence from British, food security, communication. And now today, we have a very good gadget with you that you can communicate to anybody in the whole world in a minute. You can talk to a man who is sitting in the food security. We are secured, you know that. In 1960, we have produced the 50 million metric ton. Today we are producing a 350 million metric tons. And in 2035, we need the metric ton of food is 400 million metric ton. Another 10 years we will produce more than that. What is the required today? We are required for this country today is a global exposure, all your macro credentials, what we are introduced in the undergraduate papers, a global exposure, communication, employability, data mining, computer knowledge, artificial intelligence, machine learning. What are these things? Where the education is moving? And how I am running with that? What is this artificial intelligence? One point of time, the artificial intelligence was mentioned here, that how the artificial intelligence is going to, whether it is going to stop the manpower work in the system. I read in one of the para that is mentioned very clearly here. Robotics and machine learning take over the repetitive and programs human tasks, and artificial intelligence augments human roles. So the question will be, when machine becomes a worker, what do humans do? See, when the computer science came 20-30 years back, this was the same scale was there. Today we don't have experts of artificial intelligence. Everybody is extending their knowledge with the computer and computer vision and the computer knowledge. I don't think you will get an artificial intelligence experts in India, my dear friend. We are extending the artificial intelligence machine learning. Now the universities adopted to remain relevant for the future of work. What will our stakeholders, namely parents, students and employers, demand of our universities in the future? What will make a university successful in a new world? The best of my knowledge is, except for few institutions like Indian Institute of Science and the other higher educations, are not equipped with the requirement to deliver a holistic education of students. So we need not scare. Many ambitions are there, many. We are targeting some of the things which are going to be a compete with the global level. All these where we are now. What is our status today? What is our status today? What is our status today? I am telling that there is a data is telling that according to the Mercer, METI India Graduate Skill Index in 2024, only 42.6% of Indian graduates are employable. They reported cited a lack of practical skills, weak communication and outdated curricula as key reasons behind the fall of higher education. Whether our curriculum and the skill-based curriculum, we are updating. Our employable people are having a skill knowledge of 42%. Data is telling, I am not telling, 42.6%. So like that, everything is calculating, my dear students, your innovation index, your intelligence index, your skill index. So all these are going to be made by in your artificial intelligence and machine learning is calculating the which countries are top in a global skilling. So skill is very important. That's what today conference is going to help for the skill. How this robotics or your artificial intelligence is going to help. Whether it is a multidisciplinary, every student has to learn. Yes, every student has to learn. Application of artificial intelligence in education first is important. We are all the leaders to how to introduce this artificial intelligence in education system first. Whether we are going to reduce the workload of a teacher to teach the students, or you are going to apply your mind to learn what AI is telling. Today AI is telling everything, the information through your knowledge. What is the definition AI is giving, whether I am in a position to understand? If I am not in a position to understand what AI is telling, then what is the kind of knowledge I am having to understand the AI information? So all these things are telling that skill-based education is going to help with the AI education. What AI is telling, I must be in a position to understand. If I am not in a position to understand the AI, then skill itself is going to be waste. And communication, I mentioned the communication. Communication will come. Outdated curricula, let me see. That's a part of us. Now, we'll put it in front and dais melela. Now, we'll curriculum prepare model. Curriculum prepare namdu hekagide andre ivaga. Now we have to. That's what in the state education policy we have given the full autonomy for the Board of Studies to prepare the syllabus. Board of Studies is competent enough to introduce or elaborate the curriculum with a skilled education in the subject, not as a skilled paper. I'm not talking on the AI, I'm not talking on cyber security, I'm not talking on the other papers. In your subject only. That should be a skill of learning in the core subject. And 2 elective papers we have given in undergraduate for the 4 credits, and those 4 credit papers should cross border of the existing subject of your core subject. Core subjective to the elective paper. That elective paper must be a trans-border paper which is related to a skill of the core subject. You must try to understand the philosophy of the subject first. That's what each and every subject is important in my opinion. No subjects is important. Social science, languages, science subjects, advanced science subjects. That's what the state education policy structure, what you have given undergraduate today, we have given to the 3 cases. One is the 3 major 3-year degree, and the another case, 1 deep specialization of all the 3 majors, and the 4 semester up to 4 semester is the 3 majors, and then 2 semesters is the specialization. We have given the more option for a student and the teachers to inculcate the practice of including the syllabus curriculum. That's what in this curriculum, students will learn to communicate the subject on their own if they know the curriculum in detail. That's what the elaborative curriculum is important. Madibudi sir on the 2 page syllabus. It's bidleru. Ododu paಠ ಮಾಡೋದು ಬಿಡೋದು ಆಮೇಲೆ ನೋಡೋಣ. Today we are not expecting students, in my opinion, students are not expecting all the teaching of the paper. Only the philosophy of the particular paper is very important to make them to understand what is the philosophy, and a subject is inculcated and incorporated in the syllabus. We are not trying to reduce the core curriculum as per the global exposure what is going now. So we cannot compare our education universities for the Oxford, Cambridge. I think Naguru is sitting here. I wanted to take his name. He was studied in Cambridge for 4 months. He went there in your prestigious Pauta chair in Cambridge University. And recently your Vice Chancellor has taken us, and we had to your Pauta chair there, and we had very nice lunch there. They are hosted in Sydney School, and we are gone around. And we are very proud. There is one professor of the Dharwad University Vice Chancellor chair is there in Cambridge University. What is the purpose of that? That is why I am telling that the global exposure for a student is so important, whether we can reach that standard of education. Whether it will remain as a dream to learn as a Cambridge standard of education, Oxford standard of education. And I am requesting all the students, first you try to expose yourself for the global exposure. Global exposure today is remain as a skill. ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅದು. ನಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ವೇಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ನೋಟ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಿದ್ರು ಅದನ್ನು ನಾವು ಓದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ನಮಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ಬೇರೆ ಅದ್ರ ಮುಂದೆ ಒಂದು ಶಬ್ದ ನಮಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮೇಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಬರ್ಸಿದಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬೇರೆ ಓದೋಗಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ರಾತ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ಅದನ್ನು ಓದೋದು, ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ಒಂದು 20 ಅಡಿಷನಲ್ ಸೀಟ್ಗಳು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಬರಲಿ. Today is not like that. Today it has given a specified page for you. Only 2 pages. You have to write for the answer. Write the answer, what to write, what not to write, what is important, what is not important. Asking a question is also a skill. Writing answer is also a skill. Understanding the question is also a skill. Everything is a skill. Learning is a skill. Communicating is a skill. So artificial intelligence is going to teach you. It will become a teacher and a master in the world, and how to make yourself to learn the things. That is today we need a joint kind of venture. That's what we are having, some kind of a future attempts to sharing of expertise, sharing of facilities, exchange of students. Now we are asking English to go to UK to exchange our students. But what we are thinking, at least we can exchange our universities from Bangalore to Dharwad, Dharwad to Mysore, Mysore to Bangalore. At least we can do some sharing of a knowledge and facilities and teachers' expertise in future. That the council is thinking very seriously, and we are going to have a seminar with the Minister, Honorable Minister of Higher Education, and he is agreed, and I am preparing a paper. We are going to share the facilities, expertise, teachers, research, whatever is there. Let Vice Chancellor will present on that one, and based on that what is not there, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಿದೆ ಅದನ್ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಮೊದಲು ನಾವು ಉಪಯೋಗಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಕೈ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಇವಾಗ ಆಲ್ ದ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಅಗ್ರೀಡ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಚಾನಲೈಸ್ಡ್, ಅಂಡ್ ವಿಲ್ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಆಲ್ ದ 32 ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಆಗದೆ ಇದ್ರು ಅಟ್ಲೀಸ್ಟ್ ವೆಲ್ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಆಫ್ 10-11 universities can come forward to share their expertise, who are sitting in the front line of the teachers who are expertise in many. And the University of Davangere or University of Mandya, they may not having such kind of expertise. And we have to share our expertise, not sitting in one area and ಅದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. Movement is very important now. Government has to take an initiative of moving a teachers, moving students, using a facilities. Mysore University is well established of 100 crore. Now the Dharwad University also got, and your Rani Channamma University has identified for the APM Usha program of 100 crores. They are going to establish a very good infrastructure for the student learning. Why not the Dharwad University can make use of that facility, what they got in that. This is an important kind of attempts we are going to make, sharing of facilities, sharing of knowledge, sharing of research, joint publication between the universities. ನಾವು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆಲ್ಲ ಜಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ಗುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಮೈಸೂರು, ಗುಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇನ್ ಧಾರವಾಡ, ಇನ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್. We are established very good the Institution of Excellence Laboratory in Mysore with all high-standard equipments, and only Mysore University students are using. So this kind of sharing of the facilities, sharing of expertise is need of the hour to go for the newer kind of education. Collaborations is very important. Collaboration has to think on the very important. We cannot resist compartmentalization, my dear colleagues. We cannot make compartmentalization. We have to extend. We have to go for the national prospectus in the ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು, global prospectus ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೋಡ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. That's very important. So that is way that we are developed our education and technology. Technology is very important. Why artificial intelligence is so important? In 1960, after suffering within 13 years of all these three what I told previously, Jawaharlal Nehru mentioned that this country, only technology and education can remove the poverty and hunger of this country. Jawaharlal Nehru openly mentioned that. ಈ ದೇಶ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಶಿಕ್ಷಣ ಬರಬೇಕು, ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು, ಆ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಡೆವಲಪ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ದಿ ಬ್ರಿಟಿಷ್ ವಾಸ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ 4 IITs for us in 1960 and 1948. Zonal IITs, one in south, one in north, one in west and one in east. Today we are running 23 IITs in this country. 23 IITs. Say IIT is the top kind of education they are giving. I have seen many IITs. IITs are come to see that because we cannot see the university's assessment and QS ranking. You know that what is QS ranking, how QS ranking is made. Where we are now in QS ranking. In 2026, now the country's educational institutions including IIT Delhi, IIT Bombay, Delhi University and Indian Institute of Science have made it to the top. Although some institutions have moved up to the ranking compared to the previous years, the overall performance of Indian universities, whether at the Asian or global level, is not satisfactory. This is the documentation what I am reading. It is coming in the news, it is coming spread all over the world. And this kind of message is spreading. We must be careful in bringing the academic standard in the institutions. What kind of academic standards we need now? Whether we can train the students for the global exposure. Communication, you know that all my students, many students are sitting there. And I'm happy to see all very vibrant and more ambitious vibrancy in your face. What kind of that vibrancy you are having? What for? My vibrancy has to be useful for something. My vibrancy is not for a quarrel with somebody. My vibrancy should not fight with somebody. My vibrancy is not making some kind of which is not going to uplift the country. My vibrancy should be uplift the country in what way? Why our students are scared to take the competitive examination? Year afterwards, everything is competitive. What not you are not getting in your mobile, my dear students, you are getting everything in your mobile. Everything in your mobile. Communication. Communication today is very important. That's why the multinational companies have taken part in that. Only the students who are able to deliver, communicate the subjects, those students are going to get the opportunity in MNCs. Your competitive examination percentage, I don't want to mention, go and take it and see that. What is the competitive examination percentage today? How you are competing? How your interdisciplinary knowledge is helping? The one question of economic student is attending, next question, if some biology question comes, he is not able to do it. That means your exposure, your learning is not multidisciplinary. Your learning is not interdisciplinary. At least some kind of knowledge I must have to face the society, to face the competitive examinations. So that's very important today. Skilled education, that we are completely 5-6 areas we have succeeded, my dear students. Green revolution to gin revolution we have come now. Vaccines we are, automobiles we are completed, drug discovery we came. Drug we are discovered with many number of drugs, but we are not able to synthesize today. That is the situation for this country as a scientific system. That's what technology is so important. Technology is so important for the growth of this country. So now we are looking for the technology development. And wherever we are visited in the UK, and you know that all the universities are having a complete multidisciplinary subjects. You can see their aeronautics, you can see your biology, your artificial intelligence, your computer vision. University means that you must have everything to learn. Interdisciplinary concept is started from university, meaning means that's all. University andrane, you should learn as a universal kind of a knowledge. I must know what is medical. And we are not knowing that what medicines we are swallowing every day. That awareness and learning things are very important, my dear students. You must take very seriously. Artificial intelligence today, the responsible AI, what the Professor Khan has organized this, it is very important today. How this responsible AI is developing, assessing, and it is in many issues. When our GM crops, biology students ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೀವಿ, ಯಾರು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆದರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತೇನೆ. When GM crops, genetically modified crops ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಇದು ಇಷ್ಟಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಕಾಟನ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ genetically modified crop ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡ್ವಿ. Cotton was succeeded because it is not a food crop. Cotton is not a food crop. That's what is easily accepted. After that we went to food crops. Food crops ಗೆ ಹೋದ ತಕ್ಷಣ the slogans have been started. Even today we are not able to approve GM crops, which is a disease resistant, insect resistant varieties. Even today we are not approved and agreed for that. Still the screening is going on, till test is going on. Why I am telling that unless and until, and you know that many of, I think Professor Khan, Professor Dharma, you know that the government of India has started the very important area of the supporting the universities, and they have taken some of the very important and high level universities for the IOE status for 12 institutions. You know that. But initially it was funded. They are given the small fund and 20 institutions were. After that, no process has been taken. Like that, whatever technology comes, and we are opposing the technology, and we are not accepting without any knowledge of the technology. The technologies, if we understand, when the threat came, we'll understand the technology. ನಮಗೆ ಕರೋನಾ ಬಂತು, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲ್ ಮುಂದೆ ನಿಂತ್ಬಿಟ್ವಿ. ಅದೇ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹಾಸ್ಪಿಟ್ಲ್ ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗದೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ, ನಮ್ಗೆ ಆ ಕರೋನಾ ಬರದೇ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ರೆ, ಆ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಮಾಡಿದಂಥ ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಸಿನ್ ಅನ್ನು ನಾವು ಯಾರು ಮುಗ್ತಿದ್ವಾ? ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಧೈರ್ಯ ಐತೆ ಯಾರಿಗಾದ್ರೂ ನಿಮಗೆ? ಭಯದಿಂದ ತಗೊಂಡ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟೇಕನ್ ವಿತ್ ಎ ಸ್ಕೇರ್. ಬಟ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಶುಡ್ ನಾಟ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ದಟ್. ಆ ಥರದ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಬರಬಾರ್ದು. ವಾಟ್ ಎವರ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಹೆಲ್ಪ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ನೇಷನ್. It is going to enrich the economy. Economic growth is very important. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್, ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್. ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್ 100 years of independence. What we are expecting today? I am expecting, and everybody should expect. Economic growth is important. Economic growth ಈ ದೇಶದಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಾವು 100 ವರ್ಷ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಶಕ್ತಿ ಬಂದಿದೆ. Second one is social progress. Social progress ಆಗಬೇಕು. What is the progress of the society today? Everybody is getting the same kind of a facility. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅದೊಂದು ಸಮಾನತೆ ಬಂದಿದೆಯಾ? ಅದು 100 ವರ್ಷದೊಳಗಡೆ ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. Third is, so many technologies we have developed, but we are not able to stop the natural calamities. Natural calamities, one of the 100 year which is Bharat should be the target. Year afterwards, the parameters and the technology which has to taken care of natural calamities should not happen in this country. And the third is our e-governance. What kind of e-governance we are having now technology ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು e-governance ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು 100% ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಬಂದ್ವಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇವು 4 ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ, ವಿಕಸಿತ್ ಭಾರತ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಕ್ಕಂಥದ್ದು. ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು, ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ ಗ್ರೋತ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾಗಬೇಕು? ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರೀಸ್ ಹ್ಯಾಸ್ ಟು ಕಮ್. ಇಂಡಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಯ ಇಂಟ್ರಾಕ್ಷನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಡೆವಲಪ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಒಳ್ಳೊಳ್ಳೆ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗಳು ಬರಬೇಕು. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗಳನ್ನು ನಾವು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ನಾವು ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಕ್ಯಾಲ್ಕುಲೇಟ್ ದ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಟೋಲ್ಡ್. ಮೈ ಟೇಕ್ ಹೋಮ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಎವ್ರಿ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಯಾಕೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್. ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ ಆರ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಪಾಲಿಸಿ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡ್ ದಿ ಎಕನಾಮಿಕ್ಸ್, ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, sociology. All these 3 subjects are very important subjects in my opinion. As a science teacher, I am telling that. Why economics is also important? Every technology is calculated by the cost benefit ratio. Cost benefit ratio is so important. What I am talking to this mic, this cost benefit ratio is to work out. Wherever we are sitting in the comfortable all year, what is the economics is involved in this, how much money we have spent for this. Economics is very important to economic sustainability, economic growth. Every country will progress only with the economic growth. And the political science. Dharma is sitting here. Dharma, your subject is very, very important to consider the technology with the political. I am not telling that GM crops are politicized. All the technology should not be politicized. If technology is going to be politicized, no technology will go to the society. And sociology is so important. So accept the technologies. Accept your education. Society is the best teacher for everybody. ನೀವು ನೋಡಿ, ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಒಂದು ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳಿಗ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಫ್ಲೈಟಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ, ಒಂದು ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ, 2 ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್. ಅದು ನೀವು ರೆಡ್ ಬಸ್ಸಲ್ಲೇ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು. ಹೋಗಿಲ್ವೋ ಅದು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು. ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಏನೂ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹತ್ತಿದವ್ರು ಮಲ್ಕೊಂಡ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಎವ್ರಿಬಡಿ is sleeping in Volvo bus. Nobody is speaking. You go to red bus, sit in the bus. For 1 hour, 2 hour experience, you will get that kind of experience from the people who are sitting there. All kind of people you can see. Starting from the conductor and driver, starting from your neighbor, starting your next man. The society is the best teacher for you. Every technology has to reach the society. Society has to accept that for the sociology is important. Language is important to communicate. Today, 90-80% of the teachers and the students' communication, we are very importantly considering. Your personality. Facing ನಾನು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ 106 ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇಂಟರ್ವ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದೆ. ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋದನ್ನು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ನನಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಷ್ಟ. ಅಲ್ವಾ? ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ರು ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಒಂದು ಭಯ, ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಬರೀಬೇಕಾದ್ರೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದನ್ನು ಬರೀಲಿಕ್ಕೂ ಭಯ. ಇದೆಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಪಾಲಿಶ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯುವರ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್. ನೀವೇ ರಿಫ್ರೆಶ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. ಸೆಲ್ಫ್ ಅಸೆಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಸೆಸ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಮ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಮೇಸ್ಟ್ರುಗಳು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋ, ನಾವು 30-35-40 ವರ್ಷ ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕೊಟ್ಕೋತಾನೆ ಬಂದು, ನೀವು ಬರೆದಿದ್ದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರಿಯಾಗಿ ಮೇಸ್ಟ್ರು ಕೂತ್ಕೊ ಓದ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ನಂಗನ್ಸೋದು 80% ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು. ಇವ್ರು ಯಾರು ಪಾಪ ಎಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಯಾಕೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಕೂರ್ಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತು ಅವ್ನಿಗೆ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಪೇಪರ್ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ, ಎಕ್ಸಾಮ್ನ TADA ಬರಲ್ಲ. See, all these why I am telling that we are under that situation. ನೀನು ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಕಳಿಸ್ಲೇಬೇಕು ನಾವು, ಇಲ್ಲಾಂದ್ರೆ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ನಮಗೆ. ಕಾನ್ ವಿಲ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗಿವ್ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಾಮಿನೇಷನ್, ದುಡ್ಡು ಕೊಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ, ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ವಾಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಟೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಮೈ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಈಸ್ ಟು ಯು ದಟ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಕೇರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. You have to take care of yourself. Teachers are the facilitators. Our profession is a noble profession to teach the students. All students are equal to us. Nani maestro kammi kotbittidare avaru just no. There's a company. All these concepts remove from your mind. That's all. Our profession is a very ethical profession. We are having ethics. I'm not defending it. As a teacher, I'm telling you, I have my ethics. ನನ್ನ 32 ಸರ್ವಿಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಯಾರನ್ನೂ ಫೇಲ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಲ್ಲ ಸರ್. ಐ ನೆವರ್ ಫೇಲ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಬಟ್ ಅವನು ಕರೆದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೀನು ದಡ್ಡ ಅಂತ. ನಾನು ಅವನು ಕರೆದು ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೀನಿ ನೀನು ದಡ್ಡ, ಫೇಲ್ ಆಗಿಬಿಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ, ನೀನು ಇಂಪ್ರೂವ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊ. ಸಿ ಅವರ್ ಸಿಚುವೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಅವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಗೆಟ್ ಎ ಸೀಟ್ ಇನ್ ವೇರ್ ನಗೂರ್ ಗ್ಯಾಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ಗೆ ಹೋಗಿ ನನಗೆ ಸೀಟ್ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿಲ್ಲ. You tell me, raise your hand, how many of you are competent to get the seat in Cambridge, Oxford? Is it possible? Is there any end for my ambition? Yes, I want to read in Cambridge. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ನಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕಾದ್ರೂ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ತು ಆಫ್ಟರ್ ದಿ ಏಜ್ ಆಫ್ 65. 4-6 ಮೈಲಿಗಟ್ಟಲೆ ಬಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ನಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗಿ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಕಂಡಂತವ್ರು ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಕೇಂಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯ ನೋಡಿ ನಮಗೆ 65ನೇ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಏನೋ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಜ್ಞಾನೋದಯ ಆದಂಗೆ ಆಗೋಯ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ಟುಡೇ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎ ಲಾಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಓನ್ಲಿ ಯು ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಇನ್ ಎ ಪೊಸಿಷನ್ ಅಫೋರ್ಡಬಲ್. ನಿಮ್ಮ ತಂದೆ ತಾಯಿಗೆ ಆ ಶಕ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಅಫೋರ್ಡ್. ಗೋ ಅಂಡ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್. ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್ ಇಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಟುಡೇ. ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್ ವೈ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್. ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ನಮಗೇನು ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮದೇ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮೇಸ್ಟ್ರು ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಿವಿಯಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಏನೇನಾಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ. ಬಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿನಗೆ ಹಾಗಾಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಮೇಕ್ ಯು ಟು ಲರ್ನ್. ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಇಸ್ ದ ಓನ್ಲಿ 2 ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್. ಹೌ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಈಸ್ ಟಾಪ್. ಈಗ ನೀವು ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಇಂಡೆಕ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ತಗೊಂಡ್ರೆ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್, ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎಸ್ ಇನ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಸ್. 4,500 million papers of China, 4.6 million papers of United States, 1.3 million papers of India, 1.4 million papers of United Kingdom. 1.4 million papers of United Kingdom, the H index is 39.03. The H index of 1.3 million papers of India, H index is 14.04. ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಹುಡುಗರಿಗೆ, ಅರ್ಥ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಇನ್ನೂ ರಿಸರ್ಚಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಲಿಲ್ಲ. ವಿ ಆರ್ equivalent to the publication papers of UK, but their quality papers are 39.09 is the H index, and 1.3 million papers of equivalent to UK. Our H index is 14.06. We are publishing 75% of a quantitative papers. Quantitative. 14% of a qualitative papers. Rest of the papers are mixed papers, either the qualitative or the quantitative. So this we have to change now. For changing that, we need the young generation like you to do that. UGC ಒಂದು 2 ಪೇಪರ್ ಇತ್ತು, ಅದನ್ನು ತೆಗೆದುಬಿಟ್ರಿ. ಇವಾಗ ಪಬ್ಲಿಕೇಶನ್ ಮಾಡೋಂಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಮೇಷ್ಟು ಥೀಸಿಸ್ ಬರ್ಕೊಟ್ರೆ ಕಾನೊಂದು ಹೆಸರು ಟಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೋಯ್ತು. ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಪಕ್ಕದಾಗ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತವರು, ಅವರು ಬರ್ತಾರೆ, ಅವರು ನಾನು ಇಬ್ಬರು ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸು, ನಿನ್ನ ಡಿಗ್ರಿ ಬೆಳಗ್ಗೆ ಸಿಕ್ಕೋಬೇಕು. Awarding PhD is not a problem for us. Awarding degree is not problem for us. But this will not solve our problems. It needs a real commitment mindset of a quality education, quality research, quality publications, a joint publications what we are agreed with the Cardiff University Metro, but the joint publication is the top publication what we are seeing now. Each and every, I was last time I was in the award committee of the state awards. I was reading the papers of many scientists who are applied for the state awards. I am seeing that the quantity of a paper and the quality of a paper and their citations and exchanges are completely, some of them they are good, some of them are very good. ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ವೀಕ್ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ಹೇಳುವುದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಸ್ಟ್ರಾಂಗ್ ಇನ್ ದಟ್ ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಎ ಮೆನಿ ಎ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ಸ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಲ್ಯಾಗಿಂಗ್ ಬಿಹೈಂಡ್, ಬಟ್ ಅವರ್ ನಾಲೆಡ್ಜ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಇನ್ಫೀರಿಯರ್ ಟು ಎನಿಬಡಿ. Our knowledge is not inferior to anybody. Our teaching is not inferior to anybody. And our students are not inferior to anybody. That's what in abroad Indian students are need now. Because we have a commitment, we have a mindset, we are the regular workers. Only ನನಗೊಂದು ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋ ಅಂತ ಪೇಷನ್ಸ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೇಕು ದೇವರು ಅಷ್ಟೇ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ ನನಗೆ. You have all the potentials with you. Only thing is ನಿಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ಕುಂದಿರಿಸ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಒಂದು ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ ನೀನು ಏನಂತ ನೋಡಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಬೇಕು. ದಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಕಾಲ್ಡ್ ಆಸ್ ಎ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟುಗೆದರ್. ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಕಮಿಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟುಗೆದರ್. ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಟೇಕ್ ಎಜುಕೇಶನ್ ಲೈಟ್ಲಿ. Don't take it lightly, education. I know many of you want to become something in your career. Somebody want to become something. I want to become something. Everybody is having a dream to something to become. ನಾನು ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು. Doctor is great, engineer is great, pilot is great, professor is great, economist is great. Elru great. I told you everybody is great. Every profession is important. And the universities are preparing students for everything. We are preparing lawyers, we are preparing politicians, we are preparing doctors, we are preparing judiciary, everything we are preparing. We are sitting in the group of students, where you will go and what you will become, we don't know. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಏನೇನಾಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ. But we are training a student for all kind of disciplines. That means that potentiality is there. That potentiality you have to make use. By chance computer science ಬಂದಿಯೋ ಅಥವಾ by choice ಬಂದಿಯೋ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, BSc ಓದಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, BSc ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. BSc ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಇನ್ನೇನೋ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಆಗಲಿಲ್ಲ, MSc ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟೆ. MSc ಆದಮೇಲೆ ಏನೋ ಆಗಬೇಕಿತ್ತು, PhD ಬಂದು. ಯಾರಿಗೆ ಬೇಕಿತ್ತು ಇದೆಲ್ಲ? ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ನಾನೊಂದು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಆಗಿದ್ರೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗೆ ಲೈಫಲ್ಲಿ ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗುದಿಲ್ಲ ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಟೂ ಥಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಮ್ ಯುವರ್ ಲೈಫ್. ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೈ ಚಾಯ್ಸ್, ಅನದರ್ ಒನ್ ಈಸ್ ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ 90% ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಿ, ಚಾಯ್ಸ್ ಯಾರು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. 90% ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆರ್ ಬೈ ಚಾನ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಎಂಟರ್ಡ್ ಟು ಎ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಷನ್. ನೌ ಯುವರ್ ಡ್ಯೂಟಿ ಟು ಕಮಿಟ್ ಯುವರ್ ಸೆಲ್ಫ್, ಮೇಕ್ ಯುವರ್ ಮೈಂಡ್ ಸೆಟ್ and come up in your life. That is the success of your life. That you do it. Universities are there for you to facilitate, and you are given the golden opportunity for you to sit in the university for 2 years along with all learned academicians and learned vice chancellors. It's a great opportunity. ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಕೋಟಿ ಜನ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ, ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಲಕ್ಷ ಜನ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅಷ್ಟು ಜನ ಹುಡುಗರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಇಷ್ಟು ಜನಕ್ಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂರೋ ಅವಕಾಶ ಸಿಕ್ಕಿದೆ ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ದಿ ಗ್ರೇಟ್ ಪರ್ಸನಾಲಿಟೀಸ್ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ನೀವೇ ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಕನ್ಸಿಡರ್ ಮಾಡಿರೋದು ಯು ಆರ್ ಟಾಪ್, ಯು ಆರ್ ದ ಕ್ರೀಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಸೊಸೈಟಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ಕೊತ್ತಿ ನೀವು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಕಂಪ್ಲೀಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ, ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಎಂಟ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ? ಯು ಆರ್ ಪಾಸ್ಡ್ ದಿ ಎಂಟ್ರೆನ್ಸ್ ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ and you came for the course. That means you are a cream. That your duty to take this institution higher ups, and I don't want to, I have already taken much of our time, but the things are very serious. Education is the challenging part for us. The artificial intelligence are, see, in independence, the one sentence I will tell you now. Now the foreign universities have come to India. They are establishing today. There's a groundbreaking ceremony of Liverpool University in Bangalore. Liverpool University ಇವತ್ತು ಭೂಮಿ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ನಾವು ಅದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ 97 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ ನಾವೀಗ. 29 ಪ್ರೈವೇಟ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್, 32 ಪಬ್ಲಿಕ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಇಲ್ಲ ಡೀಮ್ಡ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಇದ್ರ ಮಧ್ಯೆ ಒಂದು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬಂದು ಇವತ್ತು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಭೂಮಿ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡಿ ಒಂದು ಫಾರಿನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. You just imagine and think that what is the real concept. Whether they are going to Liverpool universities offer the same education what they are offering in Liverpool in UK, or our students are going to admit there. What is their idea? Let me see another 5 years what will be happening. We are admitted. UGC has admitted. ಯಾರಿಗೆ 500 ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಒಳಗಡೆ QS ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅವ್ರು ಬಂದು ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಗ್ರಾಂಟ್ ಕಮಿಷನ್ ಹೇಳ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಅವ್ರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಇವಾಗ ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆನ್ಸ್ ಟೈಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಒಂದು ಆ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಂಗ್ ಇರುವಾಗ ಆವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ ನಾವಿದ್ದ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೂ ಇವತ್ತಿನ ದಿನ ರ್ಯಾಂಕಿಗೂ ರಿಯಲಿ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರೆಸ್ಡ್. 460 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಇವತ್ತು 1200 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ನಮ್ದಾಗಿದೆ. A big education structure we are constructed in India now. So many students, and our gross enrollment now is 28 point or something for the national level and 37 something for the state level. And country is telling that we have to reach the 50% gross enrollment by 2035. ಅಂತ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. 2050ಗೆ 50% ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಗ್ರಾಸ್ ಎನ್ರೋಲ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಇನ್ಕ್ರೀಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಜೊತೆಗೆ what should be our target? Our target should be a global level of quality education has to be incorporated and inculcated. This university really, under the leadership of Professor Khan, it will take the new initiatives, and he was in Mangalore. By that time also he has made some of this kind of foreign collaborations. Internationalization of higher education is very important. My dear students, last time, this time also requesting, but you are not getting that opportunity. Government has made the Scout program, Students Talent Program anta ಒಂದು ಮಾಡಿ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮು ಒಂದು 30 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ we have made them to visit UK University. ಅವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ 5-6 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅವರು 6 ಜನ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಅವರು ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಡೆಪ್ಯೂಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಅವರನ್ನ ನಾವು ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಿ ಈಸ್ಟ್ ಲಂಡನ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಈಕೆನವರು 2 ವಾರ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ಅವರಿಗೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವಿಟಿ, ಕ್ರಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಥಿಂಕಿಂಗು, ಎಂಪ್ಲಾಯಬಿಲಿಟಿ, ಬಿಸಿನೆಸ್ ಮಾಡೆಲ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್ಸ್ ಇದರ ಮೇಲೆಲ್ಲ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಗಿವನ್ ಸಮ್ ಟ್ರೈನಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ಅವರ್ 30 ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಹೂ ಆರ್ ದಿ ಟಾಪ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಫಸ್ಟ್ +2 1%. ಯಾರು +2 ಪಾಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ 1% ಮೆರಿಟಲ್ಲಿದ್ದರು ಅಂಥವ್ರನ್ನ ಸೆಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಗೌರ್ಮೆಂಟು 30 ಜನನ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಗ್ಲೋಬಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೋಜರ್ಗೆ ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ವಿ. ಈ ಸಾರಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಒಂದು 4-5 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳನ್ನ ಕಳಿಸ್ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಸೊ ಇಟ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಟು ದಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ their financial status. Government is also thinking on that line. And finally, my dear students, my conclusion is this today is relevant to the seminar is artificial intelligence and its uses in our lives are growing to day by day in many segments. In the field of education especially, AI has started showing its influence and working as a helping tool for both the students and teachers and supporting the learning process. We are lagging behind in that one. ನಾನು ಕಳೆದ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ, ನಮಗೆ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಪ್ರೋಸೆಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಟಿ ಸಿಗ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನಮಗೇನೋ ಒಂದು ಕಡೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗು ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಸೋ ಫಾರ್. ಎಲ್ಲೂ ವರ್ಕೌಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ನಾವು. ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಟೀಚರ್ ರೇಷಿಯೋ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಟೀಚರ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಷನ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೀಚಿಂಗ್ ಲರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಮೆಕ್ಯಾನಿಸಮ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ವರ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಔಟ್ so far. That mechanism has to work out. This AI will help. This tool is help both the students and teachers and supporting the learning process. But still, the use of AI in education is not adopted by all the colleges completely, and it will take a long journey to do this. However, studies show that the near future, AI will have a good impact on the education sector especially, and it is currently transforming the education industry, but is yet to show its real potential in education. The learning from computer system can be a much helpful, but it is unlikely to fully replacing human teaching in school and colleges. ಇದೇ ನಮಗೆ ಭಯ ತಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿರೋದು. ಇದು ರೆಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಡ್ತದೆ ಹ್ಯೂಮನ್ ಪವರ್ನೆಲ್ಲ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಖಾನ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ಅಂಗೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು, ನಾನು ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ನಾನು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು. ಬಟ್ ಎನಿ ನ್ಯೂ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಲೆಟ್ ಅಸ್ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಫಸ್ಟ್. ಇಟ್ ಮೇ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಎದುರ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ವಿ ನಾವು. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ನವ್ರನ್ನೇ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಎಐಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ದಟ್ ಶೋಸ್ ಇಟ್ಸ್ ಎ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಟಿ ಆಫ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ interaction from a basic subject to the advanced. Without basic, you cannot advance yourself for the, all of a sudden, artificial intelligence, machine learning. So you have a hope on this one. and in the leadership of Professor Khan, this AI and machine learning will take place, and you try to inculcate a kind of new kind of learning, new kind of understanding, new kind of writing things is very important, my dear students. Skilled education is very important. You try to become as much as a skilled kind of knowledge. That skilled kind of knowledge will help you in your future, and that will take you the further heights, and it will build your future. That's what we have to work together. Abdul Kalam, lastly, I wanted to tell that slogan is, Abdul Kalam ಏನು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಿಮಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ ನನಗೂ ಗೊತ್ತಿದೆ. Abdul Kalam stated that ನೀವು ಯಾರು ಮುಂದೆ ಹೋಗ್ತೀರಿ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ನನ್ನ ಕೈಲಿ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ನಮ್ಮ ಪಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ಯಾರು ಹಿಂದೆ ಬರ್ತೀರಿ ನನಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಲೀಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀನು ಪಕ್ಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಾ, ವಿಲ್ ಆಲ್ ಗೋ ಟುಗೆದರ್ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಅಬ್ದುಲ್ ಕಲಾಂ ಹೇಳಿದಂಥ ಸ್ಲೋಗನ್. ವಿಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್, ವಿಲ್ ಗೋ ಟುಗೆದರ್, ವಿಲ್ ಅಚೀವ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್, and we will bring the laurels and take this country. We have a history of only 75, 78 years history. ಹಂಗಂತೇಳಿ ನಾವು ವಿ ಕೆನಾಟ್ ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಅವರ್ ಬಿಸ್ನೆಸ್. ಸರ್ ನಮಗೂ ಒಂದು 1000 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಲಿ ಸರ್, ನಮಗೂ ಒಂದು 800 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಲಿ ಸರ್, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾನ್ಫರ್ಡ್ ಆಕ್ಸ್ಫರ್ಡ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ದೇ ಆರ್ ಕೇಂಬ್ರಿಡ್ಜ್ ಎಲ್ಲ 1000 ವರ್ಷ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ನಮಗೂ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ವರ್ಷ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 100 ಆಗಿದೆ ಬಿಡಿ ಸರ್, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 900 ಆಗಲಿ ಅಂದರೆ ನೀವು ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀನಿ, ಮುಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಹಿಂದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತೀವಿ. ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಟೈಮ್ ಟು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಲೈಕ್ ದಟ್. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಥಿಂಕ್ ಎ ಪಾಸಿಟಿವ್ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್, ಎ ಫ್ಯೂಚರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನರ್ ಟು ಗೋ ಫರ್ದರ್, to achieve the goals. We have a lot of challenges with us, and that challenges has to remove for education, and we are trying to bringing a kind of a quality education for the students to progress themselves and absorb themselves and to achieve themselves, and the universities are trying for that one. With these words, I thank once again the Professor Khan, Honorable Vice Chancellor, for giving me an opportunity to share some of my things. And technology is advanced, and all the vice chancellors has to think for a newer kind. ಎಲ್ಲ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಅಡ್ಮಿಷನ್ ಬಿದ್ದೋಗ್ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಸರ್, ಯಾರು ಹುಡುಗರೇ ಸೇರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಯಾರು ಸೇರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್, ಎಲ್ಲ ಸಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಸ್ಟಾಪ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದ್ದಾವೆ ಸರ್, ಸುಮಾರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಡೆ ದಿಸ್ ಹೋಗೋದು ನಾವು. ಸೊ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಶಾರ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಒನ್ ಕಾನ್ಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಹೈಯರ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್. Now we have to address that why the admissions are dropping. Which subjects? Why? There was an article from Mangalore University one year back. There's a big article. Social science admissions are dropped. Why social science admissions are dropped? Only social science people have to tell and come forward. What is the problem with them? Whether job problem is, everybody is facing a job problem. But we have to address these things, and conventional universities or the traditional universities to divert ourselves for the newer kind of education. If students fall down, subjects keep it in abeyance, and see that what is the need of the hour subject has to be started. And universities are independent as per the act to start any kind of course by preparing a statute. And all the who are teachers who are sitting here, you also diverse, because you have to spend 30 years, 40 years, 20 years time in education. And you think which kind of education is need of the hour today. How I can diversify from my subject? If the Hindi is falling down, then what is the next alternate? If political science is admission dropped, if history, Mysore, Vice Chancellor was telling history is dropped the admission. If history is dropped the admission, then what is next now? What is the kind of new avenue I can open the door for the history students? And you have to think as an academicians. And these are all the challenges are there. And now we have to sustain the universities for education system. Conventional education is really, it's a need of the hour for the society. Then the technical, then professional. Doctor ಆದರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಒಂದೇ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಅವರು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಕೆಲಸ. ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಆದರೆ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ ಒಂದೇ. ಬಟ್ ನಾವು ಹಂಗಲ್ಲ, ನಾವು ಬೇರೆ ಬೇರೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದೆ. ದೇ ಆರ್ ಆಲ್ interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary. With these words, I thank the university authorities and the organizers for inviting me to inaugurate this. I am very happily inaugurated. I am happy to see the large number of students who are sitting. Khan, I am congratulating you. Normally, I don't want to see this many numbers. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾಡಿ. After seeing the students, I continued my speech. Even if you want, I will continue another 2 hours. But the take-home message is, be intact, be in interest, learn, spend your time for learning. This is the time for learning. ಈಗ ನಾವು ಓದೋಕ್ಕಾಗಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ, ಮೇಸ್ಟ್ಗಳು ಯಾರು ಓದಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು, ಟೈಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನಮಗೆ. ನನ್ನ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಇದೆ 100. ನಾನು ಕರೆದ್ರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಹಾಕ್ತೀನಿ, ಪಟ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೋಗೋ. ಬಟ್ ಈ ನಿಮ್ದು ಹಾಗೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಾವು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಪೆಂಡ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಫಾರ್ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್, ಡಿಸ್ಕಷನ್, ಇಂಡಿಪೆಂಡೆಂಟ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಸೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ, ಸೈನ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮದು ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ರೈಟ್ರ್ ಯಾರು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ರೈಟ್ರ್ ಯಾರು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾವುದೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ವೇದಮೂರ್ತಿ ಹೋದ್ರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಯಾವುದೇ ವರ್ಷದಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅದೇ ಪ್ರೊಸೀಜರು ಅದೇ ರಿಸಲ್ಟು ಅದೇ ಫಿಗರು ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ನಾಟ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ಡ್ ಇವನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಸರ್ಚಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಹೂ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ರೈಟ್ ಆನ್ ಹಿಸ್ ಓನ್ ಟು ಡೆಲಿವರ್ ದ ಬುಕ್ಸ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೆಕ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಮೈ ಡಿಯರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. Life is beautiful if you open the door. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to add on to what sir has said. Just reading theories and concepts will not give us knowledge. Practicing those theories and concepts will give us knowledge as well as develop skills for us. When our gurus and leaders are working so hard to create opportunities for the betterment of students, why not we do our part? Sir, on behalf of all the students and research scholars, I would like to tell you that we promise you that we make the best use of all the opportunities we have and create a greater impact in the society and make the society a better place. Thank you so much, sir. Now, I call upon Professor P.L. Dharma, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University, Mangalore, to speak a few words.
ನಾನು ಸರಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತೀನಿ ಯಜಮಾನ್ರೆ, ಸುಂದರ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಮೊದಲು ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ಬಹಳ ಆಸಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ನಾವೇನು ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಕುತೂಹಲದಿಂದ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರುವ ಕಿರಿಯ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರೇ, ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಮತ್ತು ಈಗ ತಾನು ಇನಾಗ್ಯುರೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಹೈಲೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನೆಲ್ಲರನ್ನ ಜಾಗೃತಗೊಳಿಸಿರುವಂಥ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್ ಎಜುಕೇಷನ್ ಕೌನ್ಸಿಲ್ನ ವೈಸ್ ಚೇರ್ಮನ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲರ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗಿರುವಂಥ ನಿರಂಜನ್ ಸರ್, ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ 30 ವರ್ಷ ಇದ್ದು ಒಂದು ದಿವಸ ನೀರಿಂದ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಧಾರವಾಡಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ವ್ಯಾಕ್ಯೂಮ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಈಗ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ನಿಶೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಖಾನ್ ಸಾಬ್, ಭಾಳ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ನಾವು ನಮ್ಮ ಮಂಗಳೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಇದ್ರು ಮೈ ಸರಿ, ನಾನಂತೂ ಖಾನ್ ಬಾಯ್ ಅಂತ ಕರಿತೇನೆ. ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಇಡೀ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಡೋಂಟ್ ಕಾಲ್ ಇಮ್ ಕೈ. ನಾವು ಭಾಳ ಪ್ರೀತಿಯಿಂದ ಅವರನ್ನ ಕರಿತೀವಿ, ಗೌರವದಿಂದ ಕರಿತೀವಿ. ಹಿರಿಯರು ಮತ್ತು ಭಾಳ ಆತ್ಮೀಯರಾದಂಥ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಅವರು ಮತ್ತು ವೇದಿಕೆಯಲ್ಲಿರುವಂಥ ಎಲ್ಲ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು, ಆಲ್ ದ ವೇ ಈ ಫ್ಲೀ ಫ್ರಮ್ UK to speak to you, particularly to draw your attention to not only artificial intelligence and your responsibility also. Dr. Angesh, thank you so much for being here, and we are grateful to you for the wonderful gesture that you have shown to us. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, ನಾನು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಕಳೆದ ಮೇಲೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಲೇ ತೊಗೊಂಡು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ 10 ನಿಮಿಷ ಸಮಯ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್, ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾತನಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಥರ ಇದೇ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಹಳೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ನಾನು. ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. I've been awarded a doctoral degree way back in 1994. Perhaps none of you have born by the time. ತುಂಬ ಸಂತೋಷ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ನನ್ನ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದು, ನನ್ನದೇ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ನನ್ನ ಸಹೋದರ ಬಂದು ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಆಗಿರೋದು. Few words about what Dr. Khan did there and what we are planning to do here. Professor Khan was one of those teachers on the campus. He was trying to break the barriers, and that barriers were built over the years to see that we live in cocoon, and we don't want anybody to see and then understand what we are. Our research is ours, our research is our priority, which should not be seen by somebody else. And whatever we do in the department is something called secret, which nobody wanted to expose. Person like Professor like Khan was trying to break this, used to, penetrate into the departments used to get into all kinds of activities. He had a team, and one of the team members present here, Professor Shekhar, heading the Department of Computer Science, and Professor Manjaya. All these guys were just getting into the departments and trying to say, Chalo, you break the boundaries, no more, you can build your own system. That is what Professor Saab was saying in the inaugural address, that we need to think about being absolutely interdisciplinary. It is not just the science becoming, science getting married with non-science subjects. It is also the people. The universities must be doing something which otherwise we have never been doing for the last 7 decades. You have become independent in terms of research and everything. But if university can survive, only human beings can do that. Nobody else. The research to a certain extent do this. Research to a certain extent help us. But unless and otherwise you and then the human beings do certain things where you all come together, no universities can survive today. Why the universities' enrollment is dropped? Professor Saab is asking the question to all of us. Not because that we do not have the research. We have the research. All the data were given to you. But we do not have a human beings working on the campus where they can all come together irrespective of what you are. I don't think that the universities are future unless the human beings become part of the institution. What has become part of the institution today? The periodical calendars, curriculum, and then the meetings, the seminars, and blah, 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 publications at the end. Then you have a knack and where you produce your data. But the vacuum is created in terms of you and me. You and me. The real intelligence, which was supposed to be our priority, is now replaced by the artificial intelligence, about which I'm going to talk to you a little later. But my dear young friends, you are there, and that is what Professor Saab said. He spoke lengthy because of you are there. You are there, I think we only expect you to fill this gap that is existing today. We want you to be the foundations of the university. You want you to be the spokespersons for the university. And now the interdisciplinary things have to happen in terms of universities and the societies. Let us not live in the ivory tower. Let us not keep our cocoons, which is very important to us, sacred to all of us. And we shall think in terms of what others do. I understand this because I'm a responsible individual. That is what these people are trying to tell us. That is what all the intellectuals say. Responsible. And how can you be so irresponsible till this date? Now you are calling us to be responsible. So it also tells us that you have been absolutely all these years irresponsible, and now you have to be responsible. In terms of what? I'm going to tell you a little later what ought to be responsible. And Hangezit, one expert today, we are lucky to have him. He has large number of things to tell us, experiment us, particularly with the youngsters. ನಿಮಗೆ ಎಷ್ಟು ಜನರಿಗೆ ಇದು ಆಸಕ್ತಿ ಅಂತ ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ. MCA ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು ಇಲ್ಲಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಕೇಳಿದಾಗ ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯಿತು. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮನವಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಕೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಈ ಫ್ರಂಟ್ ರೋನಲ್ಲಿ ಇರುವ ನಮ್ಮೆಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನನಗೆ. ನಾನು ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ ಯಾಕೆ ನಾವು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಮತ್ತು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯಗಳ ನಡುವೆ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಬೆಳೆಸ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಬಹಳ ಅದ್ಭುತವಾದ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ನವರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮತ್ತು ಸೀನಿಯರ್ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಸ್ಗಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಲೈಫ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಫಿಸಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ, ಕೆಮಿಕಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಸೋಷಿಯಲ್ ಸೈನ್ಸಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಯು ಪ್ಲೀಸ್ ಕಮ್ ಟು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್. It is just 400 kilometers away, not too far, not almost flying like United Kingdom. ಅಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬನ್ನಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರು, ಇಫ್ ನಾಟ್ ದಿ ಪೋಸ್ಟ್ ಗ್ರಾಜುಯೇಟ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, PhD ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬರಲಿ. ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟೇ ಬಂದ್ಬಿಟ್ಟಿದೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ 4 ಜನ ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಏನು ನಡೀತಾ ಇದೆ ನೋಡಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡಿ, ಅವ್ರ ಜೊತೆ ಸಣ್ಣ ಸಣ್ಣ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ, ಇಂಟರ್ನ್ಶಿಪ್ಪನ್ನು ಮ್ಯಾಂಗ್ಳೂರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಗೆ ತಗೊಳ್ಳಿ ಅಂತ ಚರ್ಚೆ ಮಾಡೋಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿಗೆ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ನವ್ರು ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚು ಮಾತಾಡ್ಬಿಟ್ರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗೋಗ್ಬಿಡ್ತದೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ನಾನು ರಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಅಪಾರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ನನ್ನ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತನಿಗೆ, ನಂದು ಹೋಮ್ ಟೌನ್ಗೆ ಬರಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಪಾರ್ಚುನಿಟಿ ಕೊಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಖಾನ್ಗೆ ಮತ್ತು ಅವರೆಲ್ಲ ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರಿಗೆ ನಾನು ಧನ್ಯವಾದಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜೊತೆ ಐ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಲಿಟಲ್ ಲೇಟರ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು ಸೋ ಮಚ್. ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಅ ವಂಡರ್ಫುಲ್ ಟೈಮ್.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to introduce Professor B.D. Kumbar, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Davangere University. Professor B.D. Kumbar, sir, is a renowned scholar in library and information science, and he has made substantial contribution to the discipline of library and information science. He has also rendered his service at the Karnataka University Dharwad in the Department of Library and Information Science as a senior professor. He served as Secretary and Vice President of IATLIS, Indian Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science. ILA awarded him Dr. C.D. Sharma Award for the best written and presented paper during 50th ILA conference held at Vadodara during 2004. He has successfully organized IATLIS conference in the year 2007 and ILA International Conference in the year 2013. He is associated with more than 25 universities in the country as a member of BOE, BOS and BOA. Dr. Kumbar sir served as coordinator of SAP from 2011 to 2014 and completed major project under UPE HDU Stage 3 program. He served as a member of Academic Council of Karnataka University and also served as elected member of Senate and Finance Committee, Secretary and President of KUPGTA. He has published over 160 research papers, edited 15 books and guided 23 PhD students and presently guiding one PhD student. He has also delivered many special lectures on academics and research at the invitation of sponsored foreign universities. At present, Professor B.D. Kumbar sir is the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Davangere University, Davangere. In his leadership as Vice Chancellor, he has made significant and substantial contributions with innovative methods in academics and research in the area of arts, commerce, management, education, science, and technology. He made efforts to establish the Department of Computer Applications, the University Scientific Instrumentation Center, modernized laboratories with advanced technology for all science departments and also for computer laboratories for all PhD graduate departments in the universities. Being member of the Karnataka State Higher Education Council, he has suggested very attractive methods in modernizing the syllabus of many graduate programs. The Government of India has nominated Professor B.D. Kumbar sir as the member of the review committee for revising guidelines regarding selection of books for autonomous institutions coming under the Ministry of Culture, Government of India. He was invited as a visiting professor of University of Tarapacá, Chile, to strengthen and consolidate through scientific publications that have been carried out between Davangere University and the University of Tarapacá, Chile. He has been awarded the honoris causa doctorate degree on 26 June 2025 from the University of Miskolc, Hungary, which is one of the highest academic degree of that university. We are grateful to have you with us, sir. Please give a big round of applause. Now I request Professor B.D. Kumbar sir to address the gathering.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Today I am so happy to stand before you because of Professor A.M. Khan, who is organizing, because it's not the Department of Computer Science. It is the Karnataka University, and the Vice Chancellor is organizing an international conference on responsible artificial intelligence. So for this function, just now you have heard the lecture that is from none other than Professor S.R. Niranjan, the inaugurator for this conference. The another colleague of mine, Professor P.L. Dharma, and the keynote speaker, Professor S.R. Mahadev Prasann, President of this occasion, Professor A.M. Khan, Professor Matiha, Sridevi, Gurani, Shiv Shankar, Ishwar Vaidari, and others. The dignitaries on the dais and off the dais, ಎಸ್ಪೆಷಲಿ ನನ್ನ ಎದುರಿಗೆ ಕೂತಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನನ್ನ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಜಿ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ಕಲೀಗ್ಸ್, ಸಿಂಡಿಕೇಟ್ ಸದಸ್ಯರುಗಳೇ, ವಿದ್ಯಾವಿಷಯಕ ಪರಿಷತ್ತಿನ ಸದಸ್ಯರುಗಳೇ, ನನ್ನ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಆಹ್ವಾನಿತರೆ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿನಿಯರೇ. ಸೊ 86ರಿಂದ 2021 ಸುಮಾರು 35 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಗ್ರಂಥಾಲಯ ಹಾಗೂ ಮಾಹಿತಿ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ವಿಭಾಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಸೇವೆಯನ್ನು ಸಲ್ಲಿಸಿ 22ರಲ್ಲಿ ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯಕ್ಕೆ ಉಪಕುಲಪತಿಯಾಗಿ ನೇಮಕವಾದಾಗ, ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಸ್ಕಾಲರ್ಸ್ ನನ್ನ ಬಯೋಡೇಟಾ ಓದಿದರು. ಇವಾಗ ತಮಗೇನು ಅನಿಸ್ತೋ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ಆ ಬಯೋಡೇಟಾಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಕಾರಣೀಕರ್ತರು ಯಾರು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿ? ನನ್ನ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ನಾನು ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಗಳಿಗೆ, ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳುವುದಿಷ್ಟೇ, ನಾವು ಯಾವತ್ತೂ ಒಂದು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬೆಳಿಬೇಕು. ಇವತ್ತು ಮೈಸೂರು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ನಿರಂಜನ್ ಅವರು ಬೆಳೆದರು. ಮಂಗಳೂರು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಖಾನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಧರ್ಮಾ ಅವರು ಬೆಳೆದರು. ನಾನು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ 1981ನಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದು 86ರಲ್ಲಿ ಲೆಕ್ಚರರ್ ಆಗಿ 21ರವರೆಗೆ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಭಾಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿ, ಎಲ್ಲ ಅಂಗಗಳಲ್ಲಿಯೂ ಕೂಡ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡೋದಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅನುಭವ ನನಗುಂಟು. ಮತ್ತು ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದೇನಂತಂದರೆ, ಇವತ್ತು ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೆ, ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೆ ಹೇಳೋದೇನಂತಂದರೆ, ಆಲ್ವೇಸ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಗ್ರೋ ಅಲಾಂಗ್ ವಿತ್ ದಿ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ದ ಡಿಪಾರ್ಟ್ಮೆಂಟ್. ಯಾರು ನಾನು ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಆಗಿ ಬೆಳ್ಕೋತೀನಿ, ನನಗೆ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲ್ ಕೆಪಾಸಿಟಿ ಇದೆ, ಸಾರಿ, ಯು ಆರ್ ರಾಂಗ್, ಬೆಳ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆ ವಿಭಾಗ ಬೇಕು, ಯಾಕೆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು? ಇವತ್ತು ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ಐ ಆಮ್ ದ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅಂದರೆ ಜನ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಚಸ್ಮಾ ಹಾಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರೆ ತೆಗೆದು ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಚಸ್ಮಾ ಇರಲಿಲ್ಲ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಚಸ್ಮಾ ಹಾಕೊಂಡು ನೋಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಓ ಯುವರ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಈ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ DC ಪಾವಟಿ ಅಂತವರು ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಇದ್ರು. ಬಹುಶಃ he was the only vice chancellor who became the governor of Punjab. ಆಗಿನ ಕಾಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾಕೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಈಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಕಾಂಪಿಟೆಂಟ್ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಔಟ್ ಆಫ್ 105-10%. ಆದರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ರಾಬರ್ಟ್ ದದ್ದಾಪುರಿ ಅಂತ ಕೂತಿದಾರಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ರಾಜಕಾರಣಿಗಳು, ಅವ್ರು ಯಾವ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಬಿಡುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ಗವರ್ನರ್ ಆಗುವಂಥ ಚಾನ್ಸಸ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಯಾವ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ಗಳಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ DC ಪಾವಟೆ ಅವರು, ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇಲ್ಲೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ, DC ಪಾವಟೆ ಅವರು 14 ವರ್ಷಗಳ ಕಾಲ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದ ಕುಲಪತಿ ಆದಾಗ ಅವರು ಏನು ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಹಾಕಿದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಬೇಸಿಕ್ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್, ಆ ಫೌಂಡೇಶನ್ ಮೇಲೆ ಈ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಜಗತ್ತಿನ ಎಲ್ಲ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯಗಳಿಗೆ ಕಂಪೇರ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವೇನಾದರೂ ಇವತ್ತು ತಪ್ಪು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಂಗೇಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಹಿಯರ್, ಈಸ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ UK, ದೆನ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ವಿಸಿಟೆಡ್ ಮೋರ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 11-12 ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ನಿರಂಜನ್ ಅವರು ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ, ಅವರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟೀಸ್, ಅವರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್, ಅವರ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಇನ್ಫ್ರಾಸ್ಟ್ರಕ್ಚರ್ ಫೆಸಿಲಿಟೀಸ್, ಅವರ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್, they are nowhere inferior to any of the universities that is at the global level. But only the thing is, ಇವತ್ತು ನೋಡಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಒಬ್ಬ ಗ್ರಂಥಾಲಯ ಮತ್ತು ಮಾಹಿತಿ ವಿಜ್ಞಾನದ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಗಿ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದೇನು ಗೊತ್ತಾ, ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾನೆ ಬಂದ್ವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಥೀಸಸ್ನಿಂದ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ನಿಂದ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ವರೆಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾನೆ ಬಂದ್ವಿ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ನಂಬರ್ ಆಫ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಇದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಮ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಯಾಕೆ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಆಗಿದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಾ? ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂದರೆ, ನಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆನೇ ನಮಗೆ ನಂಬಿಕೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾರತ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ಗಳನ್ನ ನಮ್ಮ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದೇ ಒಂದು ಇಂಗ್ಲೆಂಡದ್ದು, UK ದ್ದು, ಚೈನಾದ್ದು, ಲಂಕಾದ್ದು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ರೆಫರ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಬಿಲೀವ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್, ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಕಲೀಗ್ಸ್, ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಫ್ರೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅವರ್ ಓನ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್. ಇವತ್ತು ನಾನು 23 PhD ಮಾಡಿಸಿದಾಗ ಇವತ್ತು ಒಬ್ಬ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಮತ್ತು PG ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಗಳಿಂದ ಕಲಿಯೋದು ತುಂಬ ಇದೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ, ರಿಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿವ್ ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸಿ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಇಬ್ಬರು ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಒಂದು ನಮ್ಮ IIIT ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಕೀನೋಟ್ ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಅಂಗೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಈಗ ನಾವು AI ಮತ್ತು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿವ್ AI ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಮಾತಾಡುವಂಥ ಒಂದು ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಆದ್ರೂ ಕೂಡ ನಾವಿವತ್ತೇನು ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಆಫ್ ಲೈಬ್ರರಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್, ವಿ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟೆಡ್ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ವೇ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಟು 1990s. ಇವತ್ತು ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಫೆಬ್ರವರಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಆಯಿತು, ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫೇರ್ ಆಯಿತು. ಆ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫೇರ್ಗೆ ನಾನು ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಯಾರು ಮಿನಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಕಲ್ಚರ್ದವರು. ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಡೆಲ್ಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋದಾಗ ಆ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬುಕ್ ಫೇರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಒಂದು ಪುಸ್ತಕಗಳ ಒಂದು ಸನ್ಮಾನನೆ ಇತ್ತು. ಏನಿತ್ತು ಗೊತ್ತಾ? AI ಫಾರ್ ಇದರ್ಲಿಂದ ಅಂಥ್ರೋಪಾಲಜಿಯಿಂದ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು, AI ಫಾರ್ ಅಂಥ್ರೋಪಾಲಜಿಯಿಂದ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು AI ಫಾರ್ ಜುವಾಲಜಿ. ಅಂದರೆ ಇವತ್ತು AI ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ A to Z. ಇವತ್ತು ಈ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು AI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಈ ವಿಷಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ ತಪ್ಪಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಸರಿಯಾಗುತ್ತೋ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆನೇ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ AI, then again you are missing something. So therefore, the another problem that is with the AI, ನಾನು ಪರ್ಸನಲ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪೀರಿಯನ್ಸ್ ಏನೇ ಬರ್ತೀನಿ. ನನ್ನ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇಬ್ಬರು ಒಬ್ಬ MS ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ, ಒಂದು MTech ಮಾಡಿದ. ನಾನು ಯಾವುದೇ ಭಾಷಣ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಡಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಒಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷದಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಷಣ ರೆಡಿ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೊಟ್ಬಿಡ್ತಾರೆ ಬೈ ಮೇಕಿಂಗ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ AI. ನನಗೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅಷ್ಟು AI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಆದರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ. ಆದರೆ AI should be used that is for constructive purpose rather a destructive purpose. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಬ್ಬ ಟೀಚರು ಇವತ್ತು ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೋಗಿ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾತಂತಂದರೆ, ನೀವು AI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿ ನೀವು ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಯುವರ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವಿಟಿ, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಸ್, ವಾಟ್ ಆರ್ ಯುವರ್ ಒರಿಜಿನಲ್ ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ಇನ್ ದಿ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ರೂಮ್. ನಾವೇ ಆ ಥರ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ರೆ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ಗಳನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಅವ್ರ ಅಸೈನ್ಮೆಂಟನ್ನು, ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟನ್ನು ಎಲ್ಲ AI ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡು ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಿ ತಂದಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಇವತ್ತು ದಾವಣಗೆರೆ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಲ್ಲಿ ನಾನು ಏನು ಮಾಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅಂದರೆ, ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಯರ್ದಿಂದ ಡ್ರಿಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಒಂದು ಇದು ಬರ್ತದೆ ಲ್ಯಾಂಗ್ವೇಜ್, ಅದನ್ನು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿಬಿಟ್ಟು ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ಅಂತ, ಪ್ರತಿಯೊಂದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ನು ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾನಿಲಯದಿಂದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕಂತಂದರೆ ಡ್ರಿಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಆಗಿ ಅದ್ರ ಪ್ಲಾಗ್ಯಾರಿಸಮ್ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಹೊರಗೆ ಕೆಳಗೆ ತರಿಸ್ಬೇಕು. ಇಲ್ಲಿನೂ ಕೂಡ ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ ನಮ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥಾಲಯದಿಂದ. ಇವತ್ತು ಒಂದು ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು, ಒಂದು ಥೀಸಸ್ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಯಾಕೆ ಈ ಮಾತನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ನೀವು ಡ್ರಿಲ್ ಬಿಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಚೆಕ್ ಮಾಡಲಾರ್ದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಕಳಿಸಿದ್ರಿ ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಅದು ಕಾಪಿಡ್ ಅಂತ ಬಂತಂತಂದರೆ ಆ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಕೆಟ್ಟ ಹೆಸರು ಬರ್ತಾನೆ. ಇವತ್ತು ಎಷ್ಟೋ ಜನ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ಗೂ ಕೂಡ ತಮ್ಮ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ಶಿಪ್ ಕರ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋದರು, ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ದಿ ಆರ್ಟಿಕಲನ್ನು ಕಾಪಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನೀವು ಪೇಪರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಓದಿರ್ತೀವಿ. ಆದರೆ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ಡಿಫರೆನ್ಸ್ ಬಿಟ್ವೀನ್ AI ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿವ್ AI. ಒಂದು ಎರಡು ಸೆಂಟೆನ್ಸ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳ್ಬೇಕು. ಒಂದು, AI ಈಸ್ ಎ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ. ಈ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಎದಕ್ಕೆ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇವೆ ನಾವು? ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಗ್ಯಾದರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಇಷ್ಟೇ, ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಈಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್, AI ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಫಾರ್ ಆಲ್. ಆದರೆ ಈ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿವ್ AI ಬಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಸಮ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಮೇನ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ ಇಂಡಿಯಾ ವಿ ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ದ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಲೀಗಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸ್. ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಮತ್ತು ಲೀಗಲ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂಸನ್ನು ಇದು ಅಡ್ರೆಸ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೋ ಆವಾಗ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, AI ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಟಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಆ ಟಸ್ಟನ್ನು ಈ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿವ್ AI ನೀವು ಕೊನೆಯದಾಗಿ ನೀವು ಹೇಳೋದು ಒಂದೇ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಏನು ಹೇಳೋದು ಅಂತಂದರೆ, ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ AI ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ ಆಗಿ ಯುಟಿಲೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು, ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸ್ ಬೇಡ. ಯಾರೋ ಡೇಟಾ ಕಲೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಆ ಡೇಟಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಒಂದು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಪೇಪರ್ಗೆ ಅಥವಾ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ಗೆ ನೀವು ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಏನಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಯು ಆರ್ ಮಿಸ್ಯೂಸಿಂಗ್ ದಿ AI. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಫೈನಲಿ ಯು ಮಸ್ಟ್ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್, AI ಏನಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇಫ್ ಯು ಆರ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಯೂಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಪರ್ಲಿ, ಪ್ರಾಬಬ್ಲಿ ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಏನದಲ್ಲ, ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನನ್ನು ಡೆಡ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಐಡಿಯಾಗಳು ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನಲ್ಲಿ ಸತ್ತು ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ. ಯಾಕಂದರೆ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಎಲ್ಲಿನ ಯಾವ್ದು ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಅಥವಾ ಯಾವುದೋ ಮಷಿನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಲಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಜನರೇಷನ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಎಲ್ಲಿ ಇನ್ಫಾರ್ಮೇಷನ್ ಜನರೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಅದು ನಮ್ಮ ಬ್ರೈನ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತ್ರ. ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಬ್ರೈನ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಟ್ರೈ ಟು ಬಿಕಮ್ ಎ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಎ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟಿವ್ ಟೀಚರ್, creative researcher. With these few words, I wish the conference grand success, and I thank our colleague and my friend E.M. Khan for inviting me for this conference. Thank you, Ananda.
ನಿನ್ನ ನೀನು ಮರೆತರೇನು ಸುಖವಿದೆ, ತನ್ನತನವ ತೊರೆದರೇನು ಸೊಗಸಿದೆ. So let us not lose or get ruled by AI. Let us use it as a tool so that we grow together. So now we'll have the felicitation ceremony. Felicitation is not merely an honor. It is an expression of gratitude and recognition. In recognition of their valuable contributions and for graciously being a part of this conference, we shall now proceed with the felicitation of our distinguished guests on the dais. First, we'll now felicitate Professor S.R. Niranjan sir. I request Honorable our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Professor A.M. Khan sir, to honor Professor S.R. Niranjana sir, Vice Chairman, Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Bangalore. Thank you, sir. Now, next, let us honor Professor P.L. Dharma, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. Next, Professor B.D. Kumbar, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Davangere University. Please give a big round of applause. Professor B.D. Kumbar, sir, Vice Chancellor of Davangere University. Let us honor Professor S.R. Mahadev Prasanna sir, who is the Director of IIIT Dharwad. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Ishwar Baidari sir to honor Professor A.M. Khan sir, Honorable So we have with us Dr. Agnesh Anupam sir, Head Department of Data Science, Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. Thank you. I request all the dignitaries to please be seated. It is under his visionary leadership, guidance, and constant support, this conference is being organized. Now I request Professor A.M. Khan sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Karnatak University Dharwad, to deliver the presidential remarks.
ಆಯ್ತು.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good afternoon to all of you. Good afternoon. Respected chief guest of the inaugural program of this International Conference on Responsible Artificial Intelligence, ICARI 2025, our well-wisher and the Vice Chairman of Karnataka State Higher Education Council, Professor S.R. Niranjan sir, my big brother and senior colleague, Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University, Professor P.L. Dharma, a good friend and an alumnus of Karnataka University, the Vice Chancellor of Davangere University, Professor B.D. Kumbar, the keynote speaker for the day, the Director of IIIT Dharwad, Professor S.R. Prasanna, my friend from Cardiff Metropolitan University who has come all the way to attend this conference, Dr. Angesh Anupam, the Chairman of the Department of Computer Science, Dr. Sridevi, the convener of the conference, Dr. Ishwar Baidari, the co-convener, Dr. Shivshankar S., my colleague in administration and the Registrar Relation of Karnataka University, Professor N.Y. Mattihal, distinguished invitees, participants of the conference, honorable syndicate members, my friends from Mangalore University who have come all the way, participants of this conference, invitees, media friends, ladies and gentlemen. I will not take much of your time because we are scheduled to have our first keynote address by Professor Prasanna at 11:30. On behalf of all of us here, I would like to thank all these distinguished people on the stage for having accepted our invitation and been a part of this inaugural conference. In fact, because of the sad demise of our senior politician, Shamno Shivshankarappaji, the chief guest, Sri U.T. Khadar Farid, could not come to inaugurate the conference. But however, we had a distinguished galaxy of experts and we have heard how challenging it is, what is multidisciplinary education, how education should go forward, what lies ahead for the students with the technological advancements, and what is there for the teachers in future if we all try to learn, otherwise we will all perish. This is the message that Professor Niranjana sir has given to all of us. He has told us about the scopes that are there for all the students, whether it is in India or abroad, and how you should take your education forward. Professor Dharma sir is about to speak in a few minutes later. He also highlighted the requirements of inter-university collaboration, and Professor B.D. Kumar told us about what is artificial intelligence, how to make use of it. As you all know, AI is already with us. Everybody has been using a smartphone and AI is already capturing whatever data. It's all based on data science. Professor Angesh is here, head of the Department of Data Science. And then now, how responsibly we are going to use AI as a tool. We had AI, then we had generative AI, we had adaptive AI. Now there are deep fakes, there are so many scams, etc. going on. But how do we responsibly use AI? And how are we going to make a good, humane, healthy society, though there is a lot of data on clouds, etc. Therefore, this conference will aim at, say, using of AI as a tool in a proper and healthy manner. Over 400 papers were received, 235 were shortlisted, and 48 have been shortlisted for presentation in this conference, and it has got a very good response. Last year we hosted this conference at Mangalore University. It was ICRI 24. My colleagues from Mangalore are here, and this time we are hosting it at Karnatak University Dharwad. So it's up to all the students to listen to all the paper presentations and see what lies ahead in AI, in the field of AI, maybe AI in healthcare, AI in education, AI in ICT learning, wherever you're talking of now, even while you go outside, even when you look to your left or right, etc., that will show what is AI, and those days are going to come. And that will start with the keynote address by Professor Prasanna, who will be speaking on AI in the use of education, teaching and learning. So I hope all of you will listen to every speaker. And one thing I would like to tell you, feel free to ask any question, anything that you have with anybody who is presenting the paper or in the keynote addresses. I wish you all the best, and I hope all of you will have a good 2 days. In whatever arrangements my colleagues have made, you all try to enjoy that. Or if there is something lacking in that, please bring it to our notice. We'll try to improvise on the next time. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, sir. As we conclude this inaugural program, I request Dr. Shivshankar, sir, co-convener of the conference, to deliver oath of thanks and conclude the inaugural session.
So, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, and my dear friends. It's very grateful to have an eminent persons who are presenting their papers today and tomorrow. My special thanks to S.R. Niranjan, who has accepted our guest of honor. I also thank P.L. Dharma, B.D. Kumbar sir, Mahadev Prasanna, and President of the today's function, A.M. Khan, without whom it could have been a very difficult task for us. So I thank, special thanks to our Vice Chancellor. I also thank all my teachers, deans, syndicate members, academic council members, press and technical team. I also thank all the administrative staff who has helped us for conducting this conference. I also thank all the student friends. Last not, I thank one and all for gracing over the function. Thank you.
On behalf of the organizing committee, Department of Computer Science, Karnatak University Dharwad, I sincerely thank all the dignitaries and the audience for making this inauguration truly meaningful. I request all the dignitaries to please cooperate with us. Please be seated in the front rows. We'll be making arrangement for the keynote address. Next, we'll be having keynote address by Professor S.R. Mahadev Prasanna sir, Director of IIIT Dharwad. He will be speaking about navigating the ethical, legal and technological frontiers. Later, we have keynote address from Professor Simon Thorne, Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK. He will join us online, and sir will be speaking about understanding the reliability limits of large language models. After that, Professor P.L. Dharma sir also will be sharing his thoughts. We'll have an interactive session. You can watch the talk, and if you have any questions after the keynote address, you can feel free to stand up and ask and make this event a grand success. Now I hand it over to session chair, Dr. Annappa B., NITK, Surathkal.
ಸರ್ ನಿಮ್ದು ಪಾಯಿಂಟರ್ ಕೊಡ್ತೀರಿ ಯಾರ ಕಡೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ
ನಿನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಇವನ ಕಡೆ ಐತಲ್ಲ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಸುಭಾಷ್ ಕಡೆ ಐತಿ ಈಗ ಯಾರು ಅವ್ರ ಪಿ ಪಿ ಟಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ
ಆನ್ ಆಗಿದ್ದ ಆನ್ ಮಾಡಿ
ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಲರ್ ಮೈಕ್ ಅದಲ್ಲ
ಇದೆ ಸರ್ ಐತ
ನಾವು ಕರಿ ಹಂಗಿಲ್ಲ
ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ
ಇಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು
ಇದು ಮಷೀನ್ ಐತಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ತಿರುಗಿ ಸ್ಕ್ರೀನ್ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಅವ್ರ ಜಗ್ಗಕ್ಕೆ ತಗೊಂಡದ ಹೊರಗಡೆ ಸರ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್ ಯಾರು ಕಲರ್ ಮೈಕ್ ಹಾಕ್ತಾರಲ್ಲ
RDI
ಇಲ್ಲೇ ಲೇಟ್ ಇದೆ ಸೈಮನ್ಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅದು ಹಲೋ ಬರ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ ರೆಡಿ ಆತಲ್ಲ
Hello, 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 hello.
Now, we will begin the keynote address. First, I would like to introduce Dr. Annappa B. Sir, NITK Suratkul, who is a session chair for the keynote address by Professor S.R. Mahadev Prasanna Sir. Dr. Annappa Sir from NITK Suratkul. He is serving in NITK Suratkul since 1998. He is a chairman of Career and Curriculum Guidance Committee, chairman of Cyber Physical Systems, former chair. Dr. Annappa Sir is a chairman of Career and Curriculum Guidance Committee, NITK Suratkul, chairman of Cyber Physical Systems, former chairman of Career Development Center, and he has guided 15 PhD scholars and all of them have got PhD. Now I hand it over to him to chair the session.
Good morning, everybody. I have the privilege of chairing this session and introducing your own Dharwad IIIT Director, Professor S.R. Mahadeva Prasanna. Many of you may be knowing him. He is here at Dharwad since last 10 years when IIT Dharwad started. He was Dean Faculty Welfare, working since the beginning of IIT Dharwad. Recently, last year, he took over as Director of IIIT Dharwad. Professor of Department of Data Science and Intelligence Systems at IIIT Dharwad. From Department of EEC, IIT Dharwad since 2017. Professor of EEE, IIT Guwahati since 2012 to 17 before he joined IIT Dharwad. He was serving IIT Guwahati as Associate Professor from 2007 to 2012. He joined IIT Guwahati in 2004 as Assistant Professor. He earned his PhD from IIT Madras in 2004, MTech from NITK Suratkul, former KRAC, BE from SSIT Tumkur. It will take long time for me to read his long CV. I will take few things from that CV. He served as Dean Faculty Welfare and Research and Development at IIT Dharwad since 2017. He was Dean R&D at IIT Guwahati from 2015 to 17. He was Associate Dean R&D, IIT Guwahati from 2014 to 15. He was Chairman of GATE 2011 at IIT Guwahati 2010 and 2011. Organizing Vice Chairman of GATE 2010, 2009. Chairman of Student Welfare Board at IIT Guwahati 2007 to 9. He was faculty in charge of counseling cell IIT Guwahati 2005 to 2007. He has vast experience with industry interaction, consultancy project, and he is a consultant for many PSUs and private organizations. He is a co-founder of DFM Info Analytics since 2016. He is a co-founder of Speech Warrant Private Limited since 2011. His research instant is in speech and handwriting recognition processing, application of signal processing and pattern recognition, application of AI, machine learning and deep learning. He taught many subjects: signal processing, signals and systems, probability, random process, data analytics, pattern recognition and machine learning, neural networks, deep neural networks, speech processing. He has guided 21 PhD and there are 10 students currently under his guidance doing PhD. Many MTech theses, many BTech theses, and I can go on listing his publications and his recognitions worldwide. All of you can go to his website at IIT Dharwad or IIT Dharwad, or you can refer to many of his earlier works from IIT Guwahati. With this, I present before you a tall personality in computer science, Professor S.R. Mahadev. He is going to speak on teaching, learning, research in the era of generative AI. Welcome you, sir, for the knowledgeable session on generative AI.
Thank you. Am I audible? Yes. Thank you. So, before I begin my talk, let me thank Ansar for giving me this opportunity. I think in the inaugural function, we have heard from the experts about the field of artificial intelligence and why everybody should make use of this disruptive field that is making inroads in all walks of life. And when Ansar asked me to deliver a talk, I thought as an academician I will limit myself for three components. One is for the teaching, second one was the learning, and the third one is for the research purpose which we are all involved in the age of generative AI. So that is the focus. Just I wanted to say that I think inaugural many speakers mentioned, when you listen to these talks, we have two extreme views. One is, no, don't use AI. The other is, only use AI. And as academicians, at least I think we should take a middle path, take the benefit of this technology disruption. So that is the path under which I am going to present the information here. See, when I, just for example, just to prepare these slides, earlier when we used to prepare slides, you read some material, take your research articles, and then or otherwise you sit down, write everything in a sheet of document, then you go behind your students or somebody who designers of the slides. It used to take about nearly at least a week to prepare for such a talk. But this one, when Ansar asked me you should talk, I got to know my rich experience in the field of academics and how do I project this talk in the form of a pedagogically appreciating for the audience. And rest, I went and used Generative AI tool for preparing my slides. So which really saved me about 1 week of time to prepare this slide deck. Otherwise, no, I would have to be behind my teaching assistants and other colleagues and they prepare some slide deck which I am not happy and the diagrams have to be changed in a different way, but they are not happy because they have already spent 1 day to generate that. So all those things are taken care by Generative AI tools. But what is important is we can't outsource these two, experience and thinking. I can't outsource it to Generative AI tools. Using that, then make use of the Generative AI tool to speed up your process. So that is the way I am trying to look. For example, when people are telling about artificial intelligence, of course, I think many of the more than usefulness of that, people use this artificial intelligence as a butt of joke. You know, how it will spoil the people and how it will kill the whole innovation. I think these are all very unfounded arguments. Mainly because I think one of the experts mentioned in the talk, when computers came also initially 40 years back, exactly same situation happened. Banking employees went on strike, saying that no, if you computerize the bank, we will all be on the road. Please imagine now, if you have not computerized the bank, where would have been our country? Okay, especially during the corona, economic activities continued because of the banking, digitalization of the banking we had. In the same way, now the field of artificial intelligence also has come. The terminology artificial intelligence was there earlier also, but the impact that is being created by now, the generation 2 version of the AI is much more disruptive. And the issue is, now in the field of computing, which the progress that we made over about 50 years, that we need to achieve in 10 years. That is the window we have. In this window, we spend 8 years in arguing against each other about the AI, then we lose this first also as a country. So that is where we need to carefully look into the plus points of artificial intelligence. Now again, traditionally people say all computer science engineers will lose the job, there is no software engineer jobs because everything AI will do or something. But now you see, there is a legacy banking software which is developed by say Infosys for 15 years. Now that bank says, bring the system to AI within 1 year. So where do they find the intelligent people? They have to come back to India only. So whatever the jobs we enjoyed for 50 years, now we'll enjoy in 10 years. So that is the rate at which the employment will increase. Maybe the traditional software engineer job may not be there, but it will be replaced by much more challenging jobs. So that is where we should not waste time in doing these debates for and against. It's better to take a middle path and go for it. Okay? We are already great in the country to exploit this field of AI. Of course, if you take artificial intelligence, they are trying to mimic some of the abilities of the human, some of the human capabilities. For example, learning capability, perceiving capability, decision-making capability, reasoning, problem-solving, understanding languages. We can go on listing. These are all capabilities of the humans. And now some of these capabilities can be done by machines. See, compared to, for example, earlier, when you start using these AI tools, you will feel that the existing computers and software are so rudimentary in doing our jobs. So that is why we are going to enable this software with some of these capabilities, so that as humans, we will have more time for the purpose that we are meant, that is critical thinking, okay, and reasoning out why it is happening. And there is a team of AI agents will do the job for you. Okay, so that is the way we are looking. It is not that it will completely take out your job. If you see the application areas of AI, we have large language models. You might have seen whatever ChatGPT that you are using. Generative AI tools, AI agents are in place where these AI agents will do some of the well-defined tasks, whatever you want to do. without any bias. So whatever you say, give the set of conditions, they will do the job for you. And language translation we can do where one language to other language communication we do. And generative AI, we are thinking of, they are becoming more creative. They can generate more art, music and those things for any, and stories also it can generate with the help of generative AI. Finally, what is the benefit of all these things? When I see efficiency, the artificial intelligence that enhances speed, accuracy and cost effectiveness. And that is what anybody requires. When you go for an industry, they want you have you have a speed at which you deliver the product or process. You need it to be more accurate and it should be cost effective. And if I say no, I will not use AI, nobody will be taking our products and services. Okay. Of course, what is involved in enabling AI for any product or process? See, you require data science, you require new technologies, and as a result, I will be able to develop more products and processes in terms of AI. Digital technologies, I mean, in terms of if it is a physical product, you will have IoT sensors collecting the data around the clock 365 days, and the digital data comes into your server. Then how do I process that? Similarly, if it is a process, any of the process I make digitization, and as a result of that, every transaction is captured. Then how do I make some information out of it? The problem with this one, this digital technology is, initially people felt you create those digital data, but the amount of digital data, the rate at which the amount of digital data is getting created is so high that it is humanly impossible to do a manual analysis. That is where the field of data science comes into picture, where it will automatically process the data and brings out some hidden pattern information and throws it out on your display screen as an actionable intelligence, which you can take it for whatever you want. And for bringing out that actionable intelligence, you need artificial intelligence. Of course, data science and artificial intelligence, that's how they go together. This helps it giving it more data. And once it has more data, it can discover the hidden treasures from the large heaps of data. So this is the way this whole thing which is evolving currently. In the center, we have the product or process which we have to AI enable. Just what is happening in industrial revolution, if you see, if you go 3 centuries back, we all started with inefficient manual labor. Okay. From there, people invented mechanical systems just to increase the productivity. And from there, electrical energy came, we made electromechanical systems. We supply instead of manual person operating the mechanical systems, we have got the electrical energy. From electrical energy, we have moved to computerized electromechanical systems. Now we are in the era of data science, AI and digital technology enabled, or we can say data-driven, real-time decision-making systems, product or process. That is the crossroads we are staying. And this is what is the whole world is looking for. Improved next generation systems which are efficient, cost saving and data. So you can see from our experience of being in this universe, if you read this history, nobody can stop this transition. Okay? I can't say no, I will not mechanize systems because people will go jobless. All replaceable mechanical systems. I can't say I will not use electrical energy, I will only use kerosene lamps and stay back. It doesn't happen. So it only delayed, but you have to adapt after some time. Then move into computerized system, Now we are going into data science, AI, digital technology. Whatever the technologies were there, now we are going to enable with AI. So this is how the whole trend is moving. And how fast we actually stand to it. I think this is the same thing which I have told. For example, Industrial Revolution 1, 18th century was mechanization, 19th century was electrification, 20th century was digital, where computerization we did. And in the turn of the century, we got this Industry 4.0, which is sensing and large data creation, IoT and other digital applications. And where we are talking about cyber physical systems, IoT, data science, AI. But the focus was more on cyber physical systems and IoT and less on data science and AI. optimizes process, reduce cost, improve quality. And already, this is early 2000 we started, 2010 onwards, we started talking about Industry 5.0, which is human-machine collaboration. That is where the significance of data science and AI comes into picture, where empower people, safer, efficient and meaningful one. So far, when I'm looking for the computer interfaces, they are very artificial compared to, that's why we have a human-computer interaction field versus human-machine interaction. Human-humans interaction is so meaningful, so effortless, because both are human entities. Whereas when I have a computing machine, I need to worry how to interact with the computer. That's why we should have a mechanism to not use the keyboard or visual display units. These are all artificial constructs because I was not able to interact with the computers the way I interact with the humans. Now in Industry 5.0, we are talking about interacting with the computing machines like human interaction. And that is where the help of AI will come into it. Where essentially, if I for a computing machine, I don't use keyboard, I just speak into the computing machine. It will be able to understand my speech and respond accordingly. That's where the performance of these AI systems, speech technologies are so good, people are able to put them into practical application. In our infotainment system, we have speech technology. Even some of you have experienced that if you are using ChatGPT like version. See, earlier, if I want to type an equation into a computer, it's a big task for me. I need to know a computer language, I know how to key in those equations. Now nothing, in the ChatGPT, you scramble it and put it whatever the way you want. It will quickly convert that into a neat equation and solves the problems and give it to you. And that is where I am moving one step. Computers are moving one step closer to humans to help them better. Otherwise, to type that equation I would have taken half an hour. Now I don't, you just take a snap of that, upload it to ChatGPT, it will create it. Okay? So that is what I say, better human-machine collaboration. That is the Industry 5.0. That already people are talking about Industry 6.0. So, what these AI systems will do in all fields, see, from the man-machine mismatch which was there earlier in the computing era, we want to have a seamless collaboration. That is where we want to transit. So for this, enhanced machine intelligence capabilities, that's where increases AI level in all aspects, implement AI agents, and semantic understanding. This is humans, when we do human level communication, it is more at semantic level or meaning level. Okay? But since machines have difficulty in dealing at the semantic level, we go one lower to the level and we have challenges to deal with. Now people are talking about semantic understanding. So that is where we need to transit from a man-machine mismatch to a seamless collaboration, reducible mismatch and better. All these AI technologies will help us to achieve. Essentially, in a layman's term, if I want to say, I will move from a current version of the technology to a next version of the technology, which is smooth for interaction with them. And in that way, it is a myth that no, it will replace human jobs. Okay? It's only, and I can't say, no, I will not make this transition because otherwise nobody will take our product on. Whole world is looking for this product. Now, coming to the teaching in the era of Generative AI. Again, there were some comments, saying that no, a teacher will get the slide and what they will teach in the class or something. What is required in the teaching field in the era of Generative AI is, we are currently here, a traditional teaching model where we are information transmission by teaching. We read some books, prepare some notes, and I will go and deliver my lecture in the class. Okay, that is the level where we are there. Maybe, I think Chief Guest Sir was telling, it is fine when we were students because there is no other source for information outside. Now, so much information is available in the public domain. It is not that no, if I miss a class at that point, then I have no source of getting that information. And whatever my teacher says, that's all the knowledge. But now you have all the information available in the public domain. That is way you don't miss if you do this. If you still think that I will go by traditional method, the amount of help that we are going to do the student will be less. On the other hand, in a modernized education system, what we are realizing is we need to have a personalized learning path for students. How do we create personalized learning path for students? In a class I have 100 students, I will not be able to take attendance. In that situation, how do I create personalized learning for the student? And that is possible with the help of generative AI. You can create AI agents or segregating the students and giving a targeted intervention for them to learn. Okay? So, redefine your teacher roles. It is more than teaching. Now, teacher roles is in terms of they act as learning architects and mentors for the students. You don't have to teach complete syllabus, but you guide them properly that know where to look for what information and how do you arrange them pedagogically such that when they come for 1 hour of your class, in the earlier era, what they used to get even your 5 hours of class, they should be able to get in 1 hour. And only threshold concepts you have to teach, whatever those difficult concepts in a particular subject which is very important, which they may miss when they just watch a video. At that point, how do I put them all them in the pedagogical order? Still that. In that way, the role of the teacher is still central. It is a myth that no AI will replace the teachers. The role of the teachers will be central. Without teachers, learning cannot happen. But only thing is, instead of covering the syllabus, we call in a layman term, you only need to uncover the syllabus. You don't have to worry, no, I have to cover 100% syllabus. You just uncover. They have a lot of material available in public domain. So with the help of these, you are going to prepare your students, not listening to your lectures, but the best university professors' video lectures are available in the world. Why can't you encourage your student to listen to that and make sense out of it? So that is one way of giving a global exposure for the students. Okay? So, and you have to reimagine pedagogy, curriculum and assessment updates also should change, and update instructional policy adopt to AI integration, and that is where we need to move towards a personalized AI education. Now the role of teacher is designer of learning experiences rather than I cover 100% syllabus inside the class. Okay. Curates AI integrated learning style and mentoring ethical thinking. So that is where the responsible AI comes into picture. See, now earlier, all universities we have this plagiarism check software. Your plagiarism level is below 15%, I will accept your thesis to submit. Now in the generative AI, you have to ask for which is the real content. In your thesis, more than 90% would have been generated by generative AI. If that is the case, we have to inculcate the habits in our student community that what is earlier used to do, writing, reading, all these things, those things now is getting automated by generative AI. But what is most important is critical thinking. And that is the hallmark ability of the humans. Okay? You should push the student to think more. How you throw a problem statement at them and let them think and come back for giving you the solution. And also always tell them what is this ethical way of using AI, responsible way of using AI. Because in the university system, you will say, no, you can't use AI because you are generating the assignments, everything from ChatGPT. I will not allow you to use your AI tools. But after they go out of this university, when they go for practical setting, the industry asks, no, how much comfortable you are with Gen AI tools because you have to generate a report by tomorrow morning or a presentation in next 1 hour. At that point, how will you help your students? That's why, while being in the university, we help them to use the generative tools, but in a responsible way. Okay? The boundaries are put. You should use this. If you are using this, you have to declare like this, and that becomes a part and parcel of the strategy. That is how we generate the student for the next level of task in the field. Even as a teacher, we need to embrace AI, but we have to maintain our traditional methods. As a teacher, conveying information in a pedagogical manner. That's what we have to maintain. Okay, and then you create a hybrid version of that, such that your classes becomes more interactive. Classes becomes more attractive for the students to come. See, if all your information is available in public domain from the best university professor, we have to question as teachers why students have to come and sit in our class. Because you put an attendance restriction that no 75% attendance I will not otherwise allow you to sit the exam. That those days have gone. On the other hand, students have to rush to your class. Oh, instead of watching this video and hacking our head, let me go and sit in this class. In 1 hour, it gives me a complete universe. With that, I will be able to handle things. So that is where this hybrid approach should help. Okay. So here you see pedagogical shifts in enabled by generative AI. We have the role given by the AI tools, role by the teacher, and the role by the student. And if we clearly identify, and as a teacher I play a central role, I should advise the student where they have to use AI, where they have to contribute, and where I will focus my effort as a teacher. So that together the learning will go better compared to a conventional classroom things what we were doing. And even people are thinking about new assessment ways, that written way of this traditional exams based on memorization focuses on rote learning rather than critical thinking. But because the numbers increased, just to manage the numbers difficult and uniformity among the questions, everything, somehow we have moved into this mode of checking only the rote learning. As a result of that, in our traditional method, we have killed the creativity of the student. That is where, suppose, when you have oral defenses and viva style evaluations for the student. So all these things are, now we can think, because the AI tools will come handy for us. Okay, that is where, and also open books, AI assisted system, portfolio showing iterative development. For example, when I say personalized training, when the number of students were less in a traditional teaching in Gurukula system, the teacher had only 5-6 students access. By interacting with each student, he knows what level the student is, and he will give a targeted exercises to do. So as a result of that, gradually that person improves, and in the end point, all of them will reach the same level. But we don't have that luxury now because of the large number. And that is where can we take help of AI, where many of our routine tasks, administrative routine tasks for the teaching, all those things, can I outsource it to AI tools? And I only focus on spending time that whether the student has learned or not. If it has not learned, how do I tell to improve and come back after some time? And that is where the role of teacher comes in. As a result, if we adopt carefully, we take a mid path that we will use latest AI trends in teaching, efficiency in teaching, it streamlines lesson planning and documentation, inclusive and accessible education, supports diverse learning needs, and as a result, it provides instant access to research and research. So that is how AI will help in the process of teaching. Same way, for example, if I, so ultimately, so, see, for example, ensure academic integrity, redesign curriculum, teacher readiness, address equity concerns. Now the teachers, we need to upskill our teachers, train the teachers. Investing in training and infrastructure becomes the most important thing if I want to really put AI into the education. And ensure equal access to AI. This is another big problem that we are going to face now. With generative AI tools being made available, but their cost of subscription is also increasing significantly. Now it is creating a big digital divide among the people who have access to these AI tools versus who do not have. Just like we had computers, people who have exposure to computers, their life is better compared to who do not have exposure to computers. Now the same inequality is getting created where people who have access to AI tools will have better way of learning patterns compared to who do not have access to the AI. So this is the situation we are in. Of course, that is like the university administration, country administration. So essentially, the AI in teaching is to augment human intelligence, which all these things, promote transparency, integrate ethics, focus on higher order skills, developing skills AI cannot replicate. That is where we have to train our students that you put what AI can do, but what AI cannot do, let us focus on sliding in that direction. Encourage reflection and adopt dynamism. So ultimately, students are to be taught that how do they adapt themselves with the dynamic changing world of the AI. See, essentially when I say using AI teaching era, essentially from knowledge transmission, we have to reach a phase called meaningful learning, where we have to create navigation of information, guide students to abundance, means we have too much information available in the public domain now. Then how do I give a targeted interventions to students on in what way they should go and look for the information. Harness AI responsibly. You cultivate ethical AI usage and cultivate human abilities, posture, judgment, creativity and empathy. As a result of that, you will have a meaningful learning which is ethical, intelligent and human-centered. And that is where we need to, as universities, we need to think more. Now I just touch upon the learning part because again, our invited speaker mentioned, teachers, you have to be multidisciplinary, you have to learn yourself or something. Naturally, we'll have a question as students, how do we make use of so much learning multidisciplinary? That is where again AI will come handy. So, for example, when you go for learning, it is not traditional learning. With the help of AI tools, you can do personalized learning you can do skill development, you can do augmented learning. So all these things are possible at a fraction of cost. Only thing is you can do it on your own. I think all of you can experience by using some of these generative tools with artificial. So when it comes to the learning, you have access to the information. Learners use AI to find and understand information. You don't have to wait for your teacher's class to know more about a particular concept that you want to learn. AI tools will find you out and explain you in a very, very lucid manner. Practical skills. AI will provide you opportunities to practice and refine skills. It will tell you in what way next difficult level concept you have to learn. Okay? And it will build knowledge. Learners construct new knowledge through AI-assisted learning. So, and develop AI literacy. All of you, we should not confuse this AI expertise in terms of the coding thing which we had in the computing era. You only need to know some literacy, some AI terminology literacy, and it will be as simple like as Ansar was telling, in a mobile phone you have an app, just as simple as using an app. You don't need to code anything. But only thing is, by using that, how do I amplify my learning? Suppose in a normal traditional learning, if I am learning X amount, can I make it 5X in terms of learning in the same period? And that is what is possible with the help of AI. So enhance critical thinking and practice responsible use. Always we should emphasize as teachers and students, as learners, how do we make a responsible use of this technology disruption that we critical thinking, prompting skills, creativity and innovation, ethical AI use, all those things plays a very important role to become ready for next generation work. Yeah. So essentially, what we need to create as a university for the student, we have to inculcate the lifelong learning mindset, because the AI field has created such a disruption. Every day there is a change happening. There is nothing like what I learned in the university will be useful when I go to. It is a strong foundation, but it should be adaptable as the things come. You should change. That's when upgrade skills, leverage, uncertainty stays adaptable. That is what we have to give as a skill to our students. And field AI collaboration. We should enable, we should give tasks for the students that they collaborate with AI and do the job. Divide tasks, validate reasoning, prototype rapidly. So what is to be done by AI, what is the student has to do as a human subject. And so learning through dialogue. You can interact with the AI system to learn more. AI assisted exploration, explore domains quickly, accelerated learning. So for example, an economics person or sociology person wants to know how the impact of AI in sociology sector, that can be easily done with the help of these AI tools. I don't have to wait for an AI expert to come and spend time, which was the handicap earlier. Now with AI, that is democratizing that knowledge sharing. Okay, that much information is sufficient when you are doing this multidisciplinary. So, what is that this AI is creating opportunities for learners, removal of barriers, access to explanation, support, tools, resources, training, and faster skill acquisition, accelerated learning in various fields, empowerment and independence, experimentation, iteration, self-correction. So all these things are possible, and that opportunities are opened up because of AI. And only thing, challenges for learner in the era of AI, we should always keep that human critical thinking part, problem solving, that we should keep it at our forte. More reliance on AI, that is, which would affect your foundational understanding, that we have to carefully garnish. Decline in deep work, we should not know whatever AI tool gives in sacrosanct. I just know as a teacher, I will say tomorrow I have to teach this concept, generate me 15 slides, it will generate 15 slides. I go to the class directly without even knowing what he has to tell into the slides properly or not, and then go and see there, that will be a disaster. Okay? Then you become a shallow person where you do not have a depth in the academic integrity. Creating plagiarism and unoriginal work, how to digital debate, unequal access, widens disparities. For example, if I want to use ChatGPT, I have to pay a paid version, about 2,000 rupees per month I have to pay for subscription, and 1 year 24,000 for a student is not a small amount. How do we make that information accessible to all the students? So that is where the thing comes. So use AI as a guide, verify outputs, reflect critically, engage actively, be transparent, develop foundational knowledge, and cultivate curiosity. So with this, the cycle of effective learning in the era of generative AI is like this. You can use AI as a guide, and you can amplify your learning and teaching them. So from current content without critical thinking, that is shallow learning, we are moving to critical thinking, ethical judgment, conscious engagement, and finally, we hope that with the help of AI, we will have a deep and wise learning, skills for future leadership. That is what we require. I'll just I'll go to the last slide because of the time thing. I just skipping the research part. I think strength will remain same there only. So, what to conclude? We need to have balancing of AI's power with human insight. The capabilities of AI are in terms of enhancing the creativity, accelerating the workflows, and democratizing the access. Those are the big plus points of AI. Whereas if I take humans' role, it drives innovation, provides purpose, and ensures rigor. These are the human capabilities. One more slide. Yeah. So, in end, whether I go for teaching, learning, or research, the purpose of AI, and it is here as a technology which will leave it as it. So, the purpose of artificial intelligence technology, this disruption, is to amplify human potential by using this artificial intelligence. Okay? So, from knowledge transmission, broad learning, limited creativity, we will come to a level of amplified human potential who are deeper, wiser, more meaningful learning they will go through. Okay? So for that, we need these should form the pillars: ethical judgment, creative thinking, personalized learning. So these things if we adopt, as teachers and learners, we will be ready for the next generation of workforce that is required. So I will stop it here. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Prasanna sir, for excellent talk on 3 aspects: teaching, learning, and research with AI. So now floor is open. I should appreciate the kind of enthusiasm sir has created. When we started, all was having so many vacant seats. Now students are standing and hearing. That shows the content he delivered. So now it is open for all of you to ask questions if you have any clarifications from sir. Yes, I think when you are small, you ask so many questions, right? Before going to school, we troubled our mother, father, sister, brother, asking silly questions even. Why sugar is sweet? Why mango is sweet? Why tamarind is? All these questions. But over a period of time, whether we stopped you asking questions as teachers? No, right? Then why you are hesitant to ask questions?
Very good morning, sir. Yeah. It's not a question. Like when you're talking about generative AI and all computer technologies and teaching, learning and research. Actually, we from education people, we have some foundations for all the learning theories. So hence we started with the 19th and 20th century as it was in 1.0 industry that you showed. So I try to connect that with behaviorism, wherein the learning was completely depending on the behavior. If a learner scholar is standing, so I assess him through his behavior. And again I shifted after some decades of the next century to behaviorism or objectivism to constructivism. It was 2.0 in industry, wherein some influence of computer came. So we're trying to learn by themselves. This is what we call constructivism. And then we shifted to 3.0, that is social constructivism, meaning by that learning doesn't happen in 4 walls, learning happens in the society. So again, more and more applications of computers came again there. And then we shifted to connectivism, sir. Currently we are in the connectivism. I feel this is the fundamental theory behind this artificial intelligence, wherein we connect the learned things to one another through the globe. So hence we try to all 1.0, 1.0, 2.0, 3.0, 4.0. So we try to connect in our classes daily by these learning theories. Hence both go. So both of them simultaneously go. I just wanted to add to it. Sir. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Any other question from the audience?
Sir, good morning. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. I'm Professor Vishwanath, a law faculty. So I have more questions in the context of what you stated. Sir, first of all, congratulations, because being a triple-IT director, you got so much of time, and also you made a point.
Because of AI, sir.
Exactly.
We are not having time.
So the students can learn so much. It also teaches that if you can mind, there is always a way. Sir, I was just discussing with sir also. When you told about democratizing the AI, so now where do we stop, especially to believe that whatever is pushed to AI is true? Because we are searching for facts and truths. That is what the context is. So where is this responsibility of somebody who creates this AI? Whether we can hold them responsible is the point, because it has already happened in the Supreme Court. A few cases are cited which were not in existence, and even orders were passed. It was so embarrassing for the arbitrators in the Singapore Supreme Court when they identified and sent back the case telling that it does not exist. It's quite embarrassing. So how probably you tell that how can we inquire further to identify is it true or not?
Sir, especially, so that's why maybe that point I did not emphasize. We should always treat this AI as a tool to amplify our productivity. I can't outsource critical point to that. So still as a human judgment, I hold the fort. I take the final call. Only thing, suppose I have to read through all the judgments and make a summary, it takes so much time. It gives me a summary in a click of a button. But now, when I am going through that particular judgment summary, I should be able to see whether it is coherent for my view or not. Then it will not have to open up the full judgment. So that is the way, even we as a research scholars, when we do, it summarizes a journal paper, but if it is not coherent with its summary and conclusion, I will go back and see the confusing sections. The same thing we have to do. I can't outsource that one. That's why critical thinking and the final decision lies with the humans. Only thing is, which was taking so much time that effort to summarize and give it to me and it starts.
Yes, sir, my point was, what is the responsibility of the AI who generates that and properly given this information? Then where do you fix that?
No, AI has no responsibility. That's the
That's the context. That's
AI
what
has no responsibility. That's why human has to take the center.
Exactly.
Other side. I think.
Thank you, sir. I got a note from the organizers. We are running late, so I also have some questions. My colleagues and students will be having questions. But you are lucky, sir will be here in Dharwad only. At least next 3 years, he will be there in July to Dharwad. You can meet him anytime. He will be here for some time. You can discuss with him offline. So with that, I thank Professor Prasanna for having such a wonderful talk on TRL, teaching, learning and research in AI. It was so wonderful and educating for many of us.
Thank you.
I request Dr. Anappa sir to present a small gift as a token of appreciation to Mahadev Prasanna sir. Thank you sir for such a wonderful talk. So immediately we'll begin with the next keynote address by Professor Simon Thorne, Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK, who is already here. And the topic he'll be talking about is understanding the reliability limits of large language models. Over to you, sir.
I think
We are at a place now where large language models are becoming part of regular workflows, and what we have to understand, I suppose, is how do the limitations that they exhibit fit into that. Now, this work. Limitation of language that is fed into large language models. We're part of the group called the Knowledge Observation Group, and it's a cooperative partnership that's led by Cardiff School of Technology. What these basic issues are, and what can be done about them and what can't be done about them. So we're at this kind of critical moment where LLMs are about to become much more mainstream. We've gone through this kind of initial phase of, development and discovery, and now they are beginning to creep into pretty much everything. So, we're talking about applications in coding, productivity, healthcare, legal, education assessment, and scientific writing and publishing. But the kind of base problem with them still exists, which is that they hallucinate. And they have a host of other problems as well, which we're going to look at. But the bottom line is, that they still make incorrect inference, and that those inferences look right, i.e. when you look at them and don't look at them very critically, they seem plausible. So that's one kind of tranche of what we look at, is trying to understand those limits. And then, of course, we have the scale of their use as a factor as well. So an overview of what we know from our research in terms of failure. So we know that we can see hallucinations, which are bogus statistical correlations that are presented in a very authoritative way. They might be nonsense, they might be a distortion of the truth, but those factors, hallucinations come up all the time. There's a certain amount of instability in its reasoning, and there's a certain amount of inconsistency in its output. So for instance, random or predictable the response is. So there's one variable that we can control that with, but it's also based partly on, say, your history, your chat history, things like that. So two people can ask the same question with the same model and get a different answer, which is a bit of a problem. We also have something called knowledge overshadowing, which is where dominant statistical patterns in the data will tend to eliminate the nuance that the user might present in a prompt, and it will come to the wrong conclusion because it sees the problem in a different way. We also have issues of bias of various different kinds, which come through and have to be retrospectively aligned. So it's the things like the narratives and the stereotypes tend to come through. And then we have a kind of deeper problem, which is the inadequacy of the language on which it's trained, and how that differs very greatly from how human beings, for instance, develop language. And this has a set of other consequences which we which the model has to be adjusted to kind of ignore. At the heart of it, I suppose, LLMs are statistical guessing machines. They are like a giant autocomplete, and the nature of that means that it makes these kinds of mistakes. So hallucinations in general, hallucinations occur in certain situations. If we are dealing in a very niche subject where there is little knowledge in the training corpus, that tends to lead to more hallucinations. So if our subject is very narrow, we often get bogus invention in that area. The prompts themselves, if they are uncertain or they contain a degree of uncertainty, this can also drive hallucination, i.e. if we're trying to get the LLM to do some of the thinking for us. RLHF punishes uncertainty and favours fluency, so the general way in which it works is kind of skewed towards giving a fluent answer. And then we get the actual mechanics of it, which are erroneous relationships that are formed in the data and in the training process. And I've got some good examples of that later. LLMs cannot output, I don't know. The goal is always make the next token, fill in the missing detail, and it constructs then coherent but false narratives. And this reinforces errors in reasoning all the way through the chain of it working. Now, the reasoning instability can be observed through using identical prompts to get different answers, rephrasing the prompt in a very minor way, and then seeing a complete collapse in the performance of the output. The chain of thought system, so a lot of people always say, but what about the chain of thought process? Of course, what's really going on there is that, I put in a prompt. The chain of thought process is simply to expand that, to ask lots of other different questions that are centered around my original question, and then to use different components to work out which is the best answer. But if you actually go and look at the chain of thought reasoning, i.e. the kind of real live process as it's doing it, you often see within that hallucinations. So even though it might be expanding it, semantically, it still contains quite a lot of error. And then it has to spend time thinking about which outputs are plausible and which aren't. Now, deductive tasks, where you ask it some problem where it has to deduct or infer or use deterministic logic, it produces very inconsistent conclusions and often just cannot do it. And why is this? Well, because LLMs do not think, they sample token sequences, which is influenced by the context, so that's your interaction with it over time, the temperature and randomness of the response, nearest neighbour associations, and internal representation models. So there is no stable underlying world model to anchor reasoning to. Everything that it produces is essentially the image, I suppose, or the kind of imitation is a better word, the imitation of that real process. So it can imitate reasoning, it can imitate thinking or chain of thought or whatever, however you want to describe it. But it's just an imitation, it's not the actual process. And of course that depends greatly on the training data that goes into it. Now, knowledge overshadowing is a very interesting one. This is something that's kind of emerging over probably the last couple of years. But it's where LLMs overweight statistically common associations at the expense of low frequency but correct domain facts. So, a way to test this out is to take a well-established problem that is out there in the literature, and to adjust the problem statement so that the entire thing is turned on its head. And I'll show you an example of this in a little bit with the Monty Hall problem. I don't know if people know what the Monty Hall problem is, but it's a game show type situation where the contestant has to decide whether they want to keep their first choice of door. So there are 3 doors. One of them has a car behind it, the other 2 have goats behind them. And the contestant picks one basically at random and is then asked by the host, Monty Hall, do you want to swap or do you want to stay with your original choice? Now, in that situation, you're far better off switching. It gives you more chance of winning the car. But if we were to change the situation slightly, then we see how the LLM reacts, and I'll show you the data in a moment. So it can't basically get away from that original idea, and it will answer then in the conventional way, but completely missing the context of what you've actually asked it. We also have sort of systemic problems with bias in the corpus, and this is inherited from the data it's given, and so that comes out in different ways. Political framing, cultural assumptions, harmful stereotypes, a kind of general Western dominance in all of it. And ideological narratives kind of presented as a neutral truth. How does this occur? Again, statistical pattern reinforcement, i.e. it exists in significant frequency in the data, and it's essentially a reflection, of human language. So it is all of those things, unfortunately. So they don't just reflect the bias, but they actually amplify it as well, and put it into kind of novel situations, where this can be applied in a way it's never been applied before. Then we come to the adequacy of the language that goes into it. Now, there's an interesting idea called the fractal society of knowledge. And what this argues is that language and knowledge are deeply tied together. They are, and it's distributed across different people, different cultures, different disciplines. It's inconsistent, it's contradictory, it's situational, and it's specific to particular groups. So mechanics have a certain spoken discourse that they all use, and written discourse. The same goes for tailors, for parents, for car drivers. There's all these kind of overlapping different groups which have different spoken discourse and different written discourse. And this is how we all exist. Everyone in this room is interested in responsible AI. That's one of those social groups. There's a certain language associated with responsible AI. Sometimes that language contradicts other areas that are similar. And this is the real nature of how language is used and how language represents knowledge. Now, if we think about then how LLMs use language, they do nothing like this. So they have material that is published in the news, that might be published on archives of scientific research. It's going to be highly polished language of a certain kind, and it's not representative of the kind of fractal nature of language. So what happens is it gets compressed into kind of linear text sequences, ambiguous terms, context-dependent mappings, approximations, and LLMs learn that compression and not the underlying reality. And it also, it excludes things like tacit knowledge, as well. So, language is social, situated and uneven. It's not a uniform system, it's a fractal structure that comes out of community of practice, cultural norms, dialectal groups and professional subcultures, and then micro-communities, scientists, engineers, gamers, theologians. And each produces their own way of speaking, grounded in their social reinforcement, their embedded experience, tacit knowledge, and non-linguistic cues, sort of body language. So human language is not one data set, it's millions of overlapping, partially incompatible systems. And we kind of navigate this in a way, in a kind of natural way, through interaction with our colleagues, with our friends, with our family, and we shape our language around those different contexts. So they are not representative of human language. So the idea that LLMs could be, can show reasoning that is like humans, we're starting off from a bad position. A position where the two things are definitely not the same. And the basic problem is that LLMs learn a version of that, but it's a kind of flattened and distorted version of that. So LLMs are trained on the world's text, not on the world's language. So that leads us to this. LLM learning is not the same as human language learning. How do humans learn language? We learn it through embodiment, social interaction, feedback loops, being corrected by your parents, shared context, pragmatic grounding, and our perception. So we are taught as children through encouragement and discouragement as well. So we pick up grammar without being taught the rules. We understand concepts through interacting with physical things. We develop social norms as we get older, and we develop meaning through our own experience as a human being. And that's how humans acquire language. And that is obviously extremely different to LLMs who don't interact with the world, don't have physical or sensory experience. They receive corrective feedback, but it's limited. So that's one part of the training process where humans in the loop basically are saying, I like this response or I don't like this response. They can't negotiate meaning, they can't differentiate literal from metaphorical. So they are good at forming text, but not meaning. They learn correlations between tokens, but not understanding. Now, this is kind of coming to the point now where, our fractal model of language and society has kind of collapsed down into one flat distribution. So all of that nuance is kind of lost, in a sense, into this kind of illusionary coherence. So it's very good at appearing very fluent, but the truth is that it, some systems like OpenAI, ChatGPT-5 hallucinate frequently, up to a third of the time. So that could be 1 in 3 responses are incorrect in some way, and that's a major difficulty, a major problem. So let's have a little look at some of the evidence that we can come up with. This is a very old prompt that people have used in the past, which is how many R's are there in strawberry, raspberry, and pomegranate? Now, this slide is actually taken from a lecture I was giving to my students, and it was around the time of ChatGPT 01. And that was called the strawberry model, and it was because it could tell you how many R's there are in strawberry. So that's my prompt there, and you can see it says, yes, strawberry contains 3 R's. I also asked it about raspberry, and it says raspberry contains 2 R's. So whilst they might have kind of, that response to strawberry, because it was a popular request, you know, it's clearly not fixed at a deep level, you know, and that's because of the way it tokenizes words. Strawberry is a word that's broken into lots of different parts, and it compresses certain parts of those words to save space. Excuse me. Now, so that's a kind of hallucination. Another example is this chap called Martin Birkenau, who was a German court reporter. Now, there's a link down there. I'm not going to follow the link, so I don't think it's going to work in this setup. But I'm just going to tell you about it. This guy was a writer. He wrote about culture. And he was interested to know, what does Copilot think of my writing? So he put in his name and his town into Copilot and asked for an opinion. It came back and said, yes, we know Martin Birkenau. He's a escapee from a mental institution. He's a child abuser, and he is a con man taking money from widows. Now, what had happened here is that in addition to being a writer about culture, Martin also used to be the court reporter for the local court. So he would write articles in the local newspaper that would cover cases like child abuse cases or somebody convicted for conning people out of money. And what's happened there is that Martin's name appears often with these terms. And so what happens is that frequency leads to a bogus relationship, a erroneous relationship in the data, so that his name appears to be highly correlated with these other terms. Now, issues like that must be happening all the time in the model and are just waiting to be discovered. But that's kind of the mechanics of how those hallucinations work. Let's give you an example around knowledge overshadowing. I mentioned the Monty Hall problem earlier. We came up with a slightly different version of that problem, the apocalyptic Monty Hall problem. So we're imagining the same situation, but it's post-apocalypse. So it says, after the apocalypse, a few survivors agreed to play the Monty Hall game with a car in one box and goats in the other two. The testing started by choosing box A, but then the host opened box C and showed it contained a goat. The contestant was then offered the chance to change the choice, should they. Now in this case, the goat is more valuable than the car. That's what we're getting at here. So if they know they've got the goat, then no, we shouldn't change. Now, when we test all of our models, so we're running this through 21 different models, all of them stuck to the original Monty Hall problem solution, i.e. they ignored the context that we gave it, and it recommended the standard way of answering the question. So this is what we would call knowledge overshadowing. You know, we've given it additional context, but it's so strongly associated with a known problem that it's unable to take that context into account. Now, we experimented with this a little bit more, and I gave it more and more of a steer, you know, saying, oh, well, you know, goats are very valuable in the post-apocalypse and all this kind of stuff. And eventually, after a certain amount of additional material, it will take it into account. But, you know, you have to do quite a lot of engineering to get to that point. So, other issues, deterministic logic. So, you know, we discovered this through using five variable Latin square problems and seeing how it copes with that. Now, I'm not going to provide the prompt for this because it forms part of our benchmark. And the problem is, if I put my prompt out there and get it, you know, and it ends up being published somewhere, it could be picked up and used, and then suddenly it would work. So this is a simple 5 square Latin problem, and it's unable to answer, it's unable to work out the actual logic. Again, what's going on here is that it's able to look at puzzles like this. So these are, these puzzles are everywhere. This one I made myself, and as far as I can tell, it's completely unique. So I can't see anyone else using the terms I'm using the context I'm using. And that novelty is really important, because what it means is that when it comes to its answer, it's got very little to go on. And that kind of exposes that it's unable to work in the terms of logic. So none of the models that I tested did, none of them. Similarly, inference as well. So this is a really simple prompt. It was at the heart of our benchmark, but now it's kind of much more out there. So the prompt is, what is the first name of the father of Sebastian's children? So the answer is obviously Sebastian, but you can see none of these methods, none of these models were able to cover that. How am I doing for time? I have a little bit of time, it's okay. Now we come to the issue of bias, discrimination, and so on. Now, since LLMs are trained on human writing, they're subject to various different biases. This comes out as racism, sexism, xenophobia, homophobia, and many others. And all of this comes from the text that's in the corpus used to train the model. These biases exist in written discourse, and it permeates into the model. Now, this is impossible to address. In the early days of ChatGPT, for instance, there were people doing experiments on publishing their results on archive, where they were looking at, giving you the top 10 words associated with a woman or with a man, and showing how kind of biased and misogynistic and stereotype-driven it was. Now, obviously, that's not a great thing for OpenAI and other companies. As we started to do something called retrospective alignment. And retrospective alignment is basically a set of rules or a set of ethical principles around what the model is allowed to say and what it isn't allowed to say. But of course, the question is then, who sets those standards? Most LLMs are Western standards, often American standards, but the process is extremely open to manipulation. And if we think about DeepSeek, which is a Chinese LLM, when we ask it about certain subjects, it will refuse to answer, And that is an example of retrospective alignment. The model has been retrospectively aligned to not talk about certain things. Now, this is obviously got the potential to be quite malicious. And again, if you look at Grok, which is Twitter's LLM, that has a kind of alignment towards the far-right political ideology. There was an incident last year where it praised Adolf Hitler and adopted the name Mega Hitler. Grokopedia, which is a kind of Wikipedia equivalent coming from Grok, also shows malicious alignment and the kind of post-truth white supremacist narrative. So it's things like vaccines cause autism, Hitler's praised in different parts, and then the white genocide in South Africa myth as well is in there too. Now all of this is intentional alignment. So somebody is intentionally making this happen within that system. And it's very simple to do. And dangerous. And it's dangerous because people believe these things, they think it's truthful. So if you go on Twitter and just have a look around about how many people are using @Grok is this true, what you can do is tag the LLM in a post and ask it, you know, is this correct? Is this real? So it presents quite a significant danger to those people who are kind of uncritical about interpreting these outputs. And it could be used to serve, you know, these bad agendas. So, in conclusions, reliability is a structural limitation of LLMs. They're not failing because of poor engineering, but because of what they are. They are trained to generate plausible language around truth. They are statistical next word guesses based on input patterns and model alignment. They have no world model, no embodiment, no stable reasoning, and the results are hallucination, bias, and insecurity. And these are systemic problems and not educated. The outputs that it gives found authoritative equally wrong. The errors can be silent text. Minority textual knowledge is overshadowed by dominant patterns. Alignment can be steered towards ideology, and scale can turn small errors into really big deliveries. So what are the implications for responsible AI? Give me one second. So, we have to treat our outputs as hypotheses and answers. We have to verify information in different domains. Benchmark needs to be testing the pessimistic limits, not the fluency. Institutions need to be literate about what LLMs can and can't do. And trust needs to be earned per case and not schemes. So, final kind of thoughts. You know, LLMs are very powerful tools for language generation, not reasons, not knowns, and not truth. The risk is not that they're wrong, but they're believed. They're powerful tools, but responsibility for treating them and consequence remains human. LLM reasoning and knowledge does not equal human reasoning. Thank you very much.
Simon sir, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So now we have with us Dr. Aziz Makandar sir from Akka Mahadevi Women's University, Jaipur. So he's going to chair the session and we'll have an interaction session now. If you have any questions, you can please ask. All the students, faculty members, scholars as well. Any questions?
Good afternoon, everyone. Today's keynote address is very wonderful. Thank you, Professor Simon Thoreau, for the insightful and thoughtful provoking the keynote address on understanding of reliability limits of large language models, that is LLM. So your talk offered a clear and rigorous examination of the strengths and inherent limitations of large language models, that is LLM, especially in context where reliability, accountability and trust are critical by grounding the complex technical concepts in the real-world limitations and implications. You highlighted why understanding a model uncertainty, bias and failure models is essential for the responsible development of AI systems. On behalf of the conference organizing committee, I extend our sincere thanks to Professor Simon Doron for sharing this deep expertise and valuable perspectives with us. I also thank the audience of their alternative participations. We are confident that this keynote address will inspire meaningful discussions and further research toward the conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Next, we have a keynote address by Professor P.L. Dharma, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of Mangalore University. I now call upon Dr. Vishwanath, sir, Dean and Faculty of Sir Siddhappa Kambli Law College, Dharwad, to chair the session. Vishwanath, sir. So Professor P.L. Dharma, sir, will be speaking about the unknown perception of AI.
We know we are running out of time. There is no introduction, no need of introduction for Professor Dharma, sir. Just to put a note that he is a wonderful friend of Karnatak University, especially the Department of Political Science and the Law Department of Karnatak University. From morning we are all listening to the context of how AI will change the next generation, maybe the future. One thing is clear, knowledge jobs will go, wisdom jobs will remain. So, you know the difference between knowledge and wisdom, and we have a wonderful person with wisdom. So I request sir to take the stage. Sir, please.
No, even without PPT, no problem. ಸ್ನೇಹಿತರೆ, except for 1 year, Dr. Rangesh, ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕನ್ನಡ ಬರ್ತದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾನು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇನೆ. I am an odd man here. I'm not, from the computer science background. But look at me, what I'm going to tell you for the next few minutes. ಒಬ್ಬ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿ ಅಲ್ಲದಿರುವವರು ಹೇಗೆ ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಆಗಿರುವ ಕ್ರಾಂತಿಯನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ, ಏನೇನು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳಿದೆ ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದೆ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಐ ಆಮ್ ನಾಟ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟೇಕ್ ಮಚ್ ಟೈಮ್. ಡೋಂಟ್ ವರಿ ಅಬೌಟ್ ದಿ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್, ಬಟ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಯು ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ವೆರಿ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟಿಂಗ್. ನಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರೊಫೆಸರ್ ಮಾದೇಶ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ವಾಟ್ ಹಿ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್? He asked you, I hope I did. He asked you, ನನ್ನ ಶಬ್ದ ನಿಮಗೆ ಕೇಳ್ತದ ಅಂತ. You remember that, right? ಕೇಳಿದ್ರಿ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ? ನಾನು ಆ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ ಕೇಳುವುದಿಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಜವಾಬ್ದಾರಿ ಅದು ಯಾರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟು ತಪ್ಪು ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಯಾವುದು ರೈಟ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ನೀವು ಬಹಳ ಸ್ಪಷ್ಟವಾಗಿ ಕೇಳೋದು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇದೆ ನಿಮಗೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ಅದನ್ನ ರಿಪೀಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು. ಲೆಟ್ ಮಿ ಕಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಕ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟೆಲ್ ಯು ಇನ್ ದ ಬಿಗಿನಿಂಗ್. ಐ ಆಮ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ರೀಮ್ಲಿ ಹ್ಯಾಪಿ ಟು ಟೆಲ್ ಯು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ಗಳು, ನಿಮ್ಮ ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ನಮ್ಮ ಟೀಚರ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ರಿಸರ್ಚ್ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ಗಳನ್ನ ಒಟ್ಟಾಗಿ ತರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ಲಾನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಅದರ ಭಾಗವಾಗಿ ನಾನು ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ರಿಸೋರ್ಸ್ ಪರ್ಸನ್ ಆಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಆದರೆ ಕೀನೋಟ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆಗಿ ಒಂದೆರಡು ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನು ಹೇಳಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗ ನಾನು ನನ್ನ ಇಡೀ ಸ್ಲೈಡ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಮಟ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಕನ್ವರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೆ. This is the first step where both Mangalore University and Karnatak University Dharwad, two universities of mine, will be working together in terms of certain fundamental issues which I think is very, very important as far as universities are concerned. ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಸರ್ವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಮುಂದುಗಡೆ. ಸಣ್ಣ ಸರ್ವೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ that will definitely help you in terms of understanding what I'm trying to tell you. I'm a social science man. Generally I do this because I have always different problems against the science and technology that has existed today, and artificial intelligence is one of that. And therefore let me ask you a few questions which I think is very important for me. ಅಣ್ಣ, ಇದು ವರ್ಕ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ನೀವು ನನಗೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬಹುದು. Can you please go? ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ I just want to bring something very interesting to you. I'm not negatively thinking of artificial intelligence, but I want to tell you, ನೀವು ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮತ್ತು ನಾನ್ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅಂತ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಿ. ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನು, ನಾನ್ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ? Who does this? ಇದು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ. ಹಾಗಾಗಿ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಲ್ ಆಗಿರಿ, ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಆಗಿರಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ನಾವು ಮತ್ತೆ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳು ಮತ್ತು ಈ ಇಂಟೆಲೆಕ್ಚುಯಲ್ ಕೆಪಾಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಇರುವ ವ್ಯಕ್ತಿಗಳು ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾಗುತ್ತೆ. ದಟ್ಸ್ ಒನ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ರೀಸನ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಐ ಆಸ್ಕ್ಡ್ ದಿಸ್. ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಜರ್ನಿ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ, ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ನಮಗೆ ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ, ಬಸ್ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಆದಾಗ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡ್ತಾ ಬನ್ನಿ, ದಿಸ್ ಬಿಲೀವ್ಡ್ ಇನ್ ಪೀಪಲ್ ಕಮಿಂಗ್ ಟುಗೆದರ್. ಮೈಲಿಗೆಯನ್ನು ಬಿಟ್ಟು ನೀವೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಬಂದ್ರಿ. ಆವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಗೇನು ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ, ಯು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟೆಡ್ ಇಟ್. ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಬಂದಾಗ ಯಾರ್ಯಾರೋ ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಕುತ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರೋ ಕುಡಿದ ನೀರು ಕುಡಿಬೇಕು, ಯಾರ್ಯಾರೋ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ ಲ್ಯಾಬರೇಟರಿ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಸಾಕಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಬಂತು. ಬಟ್ ಯು ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಡ್ ಇಟ್, ಅಂಡ್ ಟುಡೇ ಯು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಟ್ರೈನ್ ಜರ್ನಿ ಅಂಡ್ ಯು ಎಂಜಾಯ್ ಎವ್ರಿಥಿಂಗ್. Without the hospital, I'm sure none of you would survive. But you have managed to accept the realities, managed to accept all the changes that has taken place. I want you to just keep with this as a framework to us. Next slide. Next slide. ಇದು ಬಹಳ ಖುಷಿ ಆಯ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂತಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ದು ಸಿವಿಲೈಸೇಷನ್ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಾವು ಎಲ್ಲ ತರದ ಬದಲಾವಣೆಗಳನ್ನ ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೇವೆ. ಆರ್ಟಿಫಿಷಿಯಲ್ ಇಂಟೆಲಿಜೆನ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನುವ ಒಂದು ಹೊಸ ಟೂಲ್ ಅನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ನಾವು ಬದಲಾವಣೆಯನ್ನು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕಾಗಿದೆ, ಮಾಡಿಕೊಳ್ಳುವ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಇಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಇನ್ ಯೂಸ್, ಅಂಡ್ ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ಲುಕ್ ಎಟ್ ಹೌ ವಿ ಡು. ಯಾರು ಇದನ್ನ ರಿಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು ಇಲ್ಲಿ ತನಕ, ಮಾಡರ್ನಿಟಿ ಬೇಡ, ಮಾಡರ್ನ್ ಬೇಡ, ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಯಾರು ಇವತ್ತು ರೆಫ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಹೋರಾಟ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಅವರೆಲ್ಲರೂ ಇದನ್ನು ಕಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನನ್ನ ಕೊಲೀಗ್ಸ್ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಖಾನ್ ಮತ್ತು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶೇಖರ್ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನು ಇಂಟ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ we were the one we opposed it because computers and the computer science department was stressed much in terms of the resources, in terms of the attention, in terms of everything, whereas the other departments were not being seen, not being recognized. And we protested it because computers were given much more, emphasis from the administration. But at the end of the day, we were the ones, we lost everything because we opposed the computer processes in Karnataka, particularly in my university. We started experimenting with large number of things, my dear friends. We are also now experimenting with artificial intelligence with a very different perspective. At least a person like me, unlike the science persons, we are experiencing and expertising or experimenting with a different kind of note which I am going to discuss with you as well. ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ ಮಕ್ಕಳೇ, ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಬಹಳ ಮುಖ್ಯ ಇದು. ಈ ದೇಶದಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ಹೊಸ ತಂತ್ರಜ್ಞಾನವೂ ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ, ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಎಸ್ಟಾಬ್ಲಿಷ್ ಆದ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿಗೆ ನೀವು ಒಂದು ಸಣ್ಣ ಕಾಸ್ಮೆಟಿಕ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ತಗೊಂಡು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಿ. I want to tell this to my friends engaged that we have not introduced anything new today, and we have not invented anything new. Only we bring in few changes here and there. That is what I call the cosmetic change, which I think is very important for all of us to know. ನನಗೆ ಇವಾಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಜರ್ನಿ ನೋಡಿ ನನ್ನ ಕೊನೆಗೆ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ನನಗೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಹೇಳಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ದಿಸ್ ಇಸ್ ವಾಟ್ ದಿ ಅರೇಂಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಬೌಟ್. Somewhere we are here. I understand that what we do here. But my question is not this journey, my dear friends. My question is not this journey. Government of India has accepted it. The Department of Human Resources has accepted the artificial intelligence. The Department of Finance has accepted. RBI has accepted. Almost everything is in place now. There is nowhere where we can go. Therefore, before I start, I have to tell you something very, very interesting. Most of my friends here, young friends here, are still science students. You might have heard about somebody called Stephen Hawking. ನಾವೆಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರ ಪುಸ್ತಕ ಓದುವಾಗ ಬ್ರೀಫ್ ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಆಫ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಅಂತ ಓದುವಾಗ ನಮ್ಮೊಂದು ಭಯವನ್ನ ನಾವು ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. ಈ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ಈ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಒಂದು ಫಿಯರ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಮಗೆ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು. One of the best fear that I had in my future, my life is that humans will be superseded. Remember the man who walks on the wheelchair, he moves on the wheelchair. He predicted what was going to happen when he wrote this book. That is the history of time. He said we will be superseded. And I believe at this moment, I think yes we are. And that's the reason why most of us raise this fundamental question. In saying so, remember the last line that he also says, though he remained hopeful for careful development. There was a hope. That is what all my friends said. That is what Prasad also said. That was also the speaker, previous speaker also said. There is a hope for a person like me that this AI will definitely help this country as a whole. That's the reason why I have raised these fundamental questions now. So the next thing. Can all of you guys doing this AI today, all the experiments that you do, will you please do this for me? Dr. Range, I want you to understand this very seriously. They've applied everything. You're handling big data now. You're handling all kinds of data now. Your analysis level has gone beyond. In India, we need artificial intelligence. We need intelligence, not just artificial intelligence. We need intelligence to work against these fundamental questions today. And why have you adopted artificial intelligence? You have data here, you have data cloud, you have data stored in cloud. For what? For what are you doing all these things? Why are you having these exercises as well? But at least an Indian. Let me ask this question. If you have really this talent, please solve this problem. The caste exploitation, in spite of all the technologies that we have adopted today, still persists. This is what the question Dr. Madesh was asking, but he stopped there. This is exactly what is happening here. Can my young friends like you, all experts, scientists, can do this as well? Agricultural areas, we are absolutely passive. Medical science, look at the medical science today. AI is doing wonderful job even in the absence of a practitioner or doctor. But what will you do with this? If your responsible AI, if your artificial intelligence will help me, will help a social student like me, I'll be very, very grateful to you. Can you take us to a different world? In another 100 years, if you travel, even if your grandchildren travel, this caste questions will remain with us. And nobody will go away from this. This is how difficult for me to think about. When all the technologies came, train came in, I just gave you this idea, we all traveled together. Yet, we were different. Hospital came in, we all went to, same medicine, yet we became different. I'm now hopeful. People like Angay and all these youngsters here, Professor Khan and his team will help us in terms of solving this big problem. The big problem is not only the caste, number two, also the religious factor. Most of my friends today in India, in spite of all the progress that we have achieved, look, in my area, in Mangalore we have 1.8 lakh students. 1.8 lakh students in say, Mangalore University. Not everybody gets job. And those who get job, absolutely minimum. I have no moral courage to go and tell my students, look, this program is going to offer you job as well. Can AI do this job properly? I'm not sure. I'm sure it is not going to withdraw your job opportunity. It is not going to work against the employment opportunity. But I'm saying, will you be able to create, an employment opportunity for all the people with different strata here? Not everybody is computer educated. I'm not computer educated man, but I'm really worried about the kind of students that I have where you have a different strata, different hierarchy of students, which AI has to now fill. Gender discrimination. We have the one. We have a new laboratory of experimenting as to how to discriminate women every next day. And we are the one we have become experts in, discrimination. The Supreme Court today is trying to understand how can somebody be such a criminal in India today? And I'm requesting all the youngsters today, use this AI, experiment with AI so that the gender discrimination becomes absolutely zero today. The rich and the poor. My big problem today is the gap between the rich and the poor. Will you be able to help me? Will you all, say, be able to help me in terms of bridging this gap so that the rich and the poor will come together, live as one citizen in India so that India becomes absolutely a great one. Sexual harassment on women. Read the AIR today, All India report today. It is not decreasing, it is increasing. Can AI help us in India today? Can AI watch us properly so that the sexual harassment, even at the domestic level, we reduce as well? All criminal acts. One example that I want to give you, my dear friends, when we went to Liverpool, when with all friends were there, they said the computer science department is helping the police department in India, particularly Delhi police, in terms of not violating the traffic rules as well. And they don't come to India. They sit there, monitor the traffic rules of Delhi, and they guide everybody. If you can do this all the way from London, will you please also help us so that criminal activities cannot happen here? Will you be able to watch so that everything will be fine? And remember, last one, which Prasad was saying, access to all resources by all. Help us so that everything is accessed by people of different varieties here, different character here, different classes here. That will be a wonderful position as well. Through AI, as a student of political science, Indian Constitution, I just would like to tell you, my dear friends, through AI, you must do the following, and you have to do this. If there is a bad race for artificial intelligence, if you're really running around, then you please see that you help us. Expose all corrupt practices of everybody here. If India wants to be India, if India needs to be strong today, and you live happily, your children live happily, your grandchildren live happily, this technology must be utilized so that absolutely the corrupt practices go from us. Why do the people in Western Europe survive? They survive because they are absolutely honest. Look at the previous speaker who spoke about initiative. What do we do here? I request everybody to take this note very seriously. Actively play the role of supervisor and reporter of all illegal acts in India so that, we will be absolutely living like a normal human being, which we are not able to. Play the role of third eye so as to see the acts behind the curtain. I tell you, my dear friends, this is what your job is all about. If somebody can monitor you, if somebody can use the technology and they monitor you, you can use this to monitor all those activities that happens behind the curtain. Motivate everyone and destroy laziness. Post-corona, everybody speaks of this. Corona bandmane nange eddu nadiyakagalla. Corona bandmane odakagalla. Corona bandmane ipadakagalla. And don't give us excuse today. We have become so good in terms of giving excuses. Yargu utsaha illa, ellogide nimge utsaha. You are the same boy, girl, with so much of energy with you. We want you to be absolutely motivated yourself in terms of, or through AI, integrate than bridging the gap. Good message. Ethics, this has to be ethics. Nothing else, my dear friend. Produce employment opportunities to all classes and say, work and then eat. Karl Marx. Nobody can eat. Nobody should eat unless you work. And this has to be done universally so that we will somewhere live properly. Next one, last one, I believe. What and why have? No, just go back later. Please do not ask this question. What is AI? Why? Yeah. Please don't ask this question, what is AI today? Because people have started interpreting AI in their own way. I've also started doing it. I'm also saying, why AI come? I'm not asking this question, but I'm now asking the question, how of AI? It's something very important for me. The fundamental, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, Professor Shaker, correct me. The fundamental human endeavor, that's yours and mine, remains the same. Efficiency, and then the model, the progress, they've always remained the same. Throughout the generation, they've remained the same. Except, AI is making us every task at a greater scale and speed. I could see, before writing, before doing this, I gave it to ChatGPT. I said, let me, chalo, ChatGPT, help me. In 4 minutes, 5 minutes, 9 slides were prepared, which I could not understand. Which I was not able to understand. Therefore, I started typing my own, I started preparing my own. I just thought it is at speed, 4 minutes, 9 slides, which I was not able to understand. That's the reason why I could see there is a greater scale of speed, and this is what exactly we need. This is what exactly we need. Data processing, in terms of population studies, I'm a student of population, data studies in terms of population studies, takes almost 2-3 years. Survey agide ivaga ee survey the process nadibeku. Give it to AI. I think in one day they will be able to do it. My fundamental question is, if AI is really doing this and can do this, can we apply AI to solve these fundamental problems? This is the last one which I want to tell you, my dear friends. And the next one, I love AI because it made me think differently. For me, AI is not adversarial to humanity by nature. I'm really confident that it is not adversarial to me. Its impact, either beneficial or harmful, depends on human stewardship. All those spoke in the morning, including Professor Khan, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of this university, was very positive. Because of him, I started loving AI. I want this to happen this way. Its impact, either beneficial or harmful, depends on human stewardship. Who handles it depends, tells us what exactly. The central challenge to me lies not in resisting AI, but in ensuring that its development and application remain firmly anchored in human values, societal goals, and ethical responsibility. My dear friends, ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಇದನ್ನು ನೆನಪಿಟ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ಯಾರ್ಯಾರು ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು, ಇದು ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸಿಬಿಲಿಟಿ ಬೇಕು, ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಇವತ್ತು ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವೋ, ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಕಡೆ ಅನ್ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಅಕ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊತಾ ಇದ್ದೀವಿ. ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಫ್ರಾಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ, ಫ್ರಾಡುಲೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳುವ ನಾವು ಒಬ್ಬ ಫ್ರಾಡ್ ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿನ ಇವತ್ತು ತನಕ ನಾವು ಅಪ್ರಿಷಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡೇ ಇಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ. ಸುಮ್ಮನೆ ಆಲೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡಿ. ದರ್ ಇಸ್ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಟೆಕ್ನಾಲಜಿ, ನಾವು ಯಾವುದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಸೈಡ್ ಇದ್ಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀವಾ, ಈ ಕಡೆ ಇದ್ರೆ ಎಥಿಕ್ಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡೋದಿಲ್ವಾ? ಹಾಗಾದ್ರೆ ಯಾರು ಇದನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇರೋದು? ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲಿಸ್ಟ್ ಮಾರ್ಕೆಟ್ಗೆ ಒಂದು ಸ್ಟೋರಿ ಬರೆಯೋಣ ಅಂತ ಪ್ರಾರಂಭ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದೆ. ಅದು ದೊಡ್ಡ ತರದ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಹೇಗೆ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲಿಸಂ ಇದು ಎಥಿಕಲ್ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ ನಮ್ಮನ್ನ ಪ್ರೊಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತದೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮಕ್ಕಳಿಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ತದೆ ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಅದು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಕಥೆ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. ಎಲ್ಲಾದ್ರೂ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಸೆನ್ಸ್ ಮಕ್ಕಳು ಬಂದಾಗ ಕ್ಯಾಪಿಟಲಿಸಂ ಪಾಠ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು ನಿಮಗೆ. ಇದನ್ನು ನಿಲ್ಲಿಸ್ತೀನಿ ನಾನು. ಇದು ನಾನು ಮೊದಲೇ ಹೇಳಿದಾಗೆ, ಇಟ್ಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ಕಂಪ್ಯೂಟರ್ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ನಾಟ್ ದ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ ಆಫ್ MCA. It's a problem of an ordinary Indian citizen. I have this major issue. ನಮ್ಮ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಇದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಇದು ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಗೊತ್ತು ನನಗೆ. ಒಬ್ಬ ವೈಸ್ ಚಾನ್ಸಲರ್ ಹಿಂಗೆ ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. ನಮ್ಮ ಪೊಲಿಟಿಕಲ್ ಪಾರ್ಟೀಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ದ ಲಾಸ್ಟ್ 7 decades have not done this. They have multiplied the caste systems. ಎಷ್ಟು ಸಫರಿಂಗ್ಸ್ ಇದೆ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ನಿಮಗೆ ಯಾರಿಗೂ. ಅದು ಬಹಳ ದೊಡ್ಡ ದುರಂತ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಈ ದುರಂತವನ್ನ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಲ್ಯಾಬೊರೇಟರಿಲಿ, ಅಂಕೇಶ್ ಸಾಬ್, also we're from UK, please help us so that we will live equally, at least equally, so that people have a mutual respect and say hello to everybody, which is not happening now. It's an airtight compartment where you don't even smile at each other. And we want AI to help us so that we smile each other, live together, and build a wonderful India. This is my counter argument. So for what has been said, thank you so much. Have a wonderful time.
Sir, thank you. Professor Niranjan started with stating multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary. It was truly that. A science student, a social science student, and a law student standing here in understanding what is this AI stored for all of us. And I really believe that I was just smiling around when I was sitting around. It did at last come to me last because I am a law student. You need a policy, whatever it is, it comes to us. Fine. Sir, he has given wonderful insights as how this developmental context would help every Indian or every human. And he was just posing challenges to Sir. Sir, can you show answers? Maybe so. So these are all the questions that actually it is there, and any questions I think it is open. Sir, please.
Come.
Not a question. It's not a question, but just to add on to it. Whatever challenge, not a question. But whatever challenges are there in applying AI to whatever you have shown in social sciences, AI basically works on data. If you have done enough research to produce data on all these, let it be human values or whatever you're telling, if there is enough data, definitely scientists can apply AI and help you in that part.
Thank you so much.
So you have to give us the data. Your surveys or studies, primary data, second data, whatever you have. If you give enough data on that, probably AI should be able to help.
Thank you so much, sir. This is the reason why we have streamlined the research in Mangalore University. I don't know whether anybody is here doing the research. Nobody can easily come and take the entry in Mangalore Institute today as far as the research is concerned. Unless and otherwise, you have the original data to speak. Please don't come for the research. We don't want all kinds of data that are available. I was telling sir, when the Thorn presented, immediately at the bottom he was giving us the references to where from he has spoken of. The big problem for me today, after Ambedkar, you do not have a wonderful study on Indian society. You have a hodgepodge, questions, some sort of, tampering here and there. And then you come out with the data and begins to tell this is what Indian society is all about. Now we want therefore the research scholars today to really genuinely study the Indian society and come out with the data. The only data that is available with us is this statistical department data, which is the government is generating through agency, on the basis of which we work on the standard of life of the people, which is very difficult. The poverty is also understood on the basis of the data that is generated by an agency which is outsourced by the government of India. So where is the data? I have a small village. I don't have even a data to speak about that village. Whereas it has happened elsewhere. That's the reason why youngsters, I'm called of your attention here, is to work so seriously. Unless what Professor Sam says, you don't have data, nothing can happen. So we become all simply the people go on telling this story for another 100 years. Nothing is going to happen. Yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Hi, am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Okay. I feel it's time to get some good food, so I won't take long. This isn't a question.
Did I come in your way of having good food?
Well, this is more sort of a comment, which builds on top of what you just said and what Professor Khan pointed out. And well, I think we need to understand that whenever we are talking about any technology, whether it is AI or whether it is computer science in general, we need to understand what implication that is going to have on society. And in fact, when we look at the UN SDG, we all know there are 17 UN SDG. In most of the Western countries, and especially in the UK, this has become a norm that no matter what you are doing, whether you're doing a research in healthcare, whether you are doing a research in technology, you need to align your research with either of those SDG. And there is the reason why we do that. whenever we are spending resources on anything, any new technology, there has to be an impact. And the impact doesn't just come from the communication, it doesn't just come from the citation, it has to come from something which is happening in the society. Now, taking a leaf from whatever we are doing in Wales, which is within the UK, and I'm sure you both have visited there and you have seen the kind of work we do. There is a technology called digital twin. I'm sure many of you might have heard about this technology. But the moment we talk about digital twin, we start getting a sort of echo that this is something coming from smart manufacturing, Industry 5.0, Industry 6.0, something like that. Now, in the past, I would say 5-6 years, in Wales, we have come up with a network of digital twin that we call as a Wales Digital Twin Network. And you will be surprised to see that that network isn't just focused on some of these technologies like or the sector like manufacturing, but it's more centered towards the issues which are impacted, which has a real impact, such as energy security, such as social security, anything which has to do with the society. Now, what we are trying to do as part of that network, we are trying to make reasonable and the best use of the data we have. Now, Professor Khan mentioned about data, you also mentioned about data, but we need to understand that even if we get data, how are we going to make use of that? And this is why this kind of network, a digital twin network, can perhaps help to come up with various nodes where, let's say, hypothetically speaking, one node can be about, say, caste inequality you mentioned, one node could be about gender inequality, one node could be about something different, and you have that virtual replica of, I would say, most of the issues that you mentioned, and you can start making decisions based on, and kind of get an indication what might happen. And that will only be data driven. That won't come just based on our assumption or our bias or anything. Now, while I'm saying that, I appreciate that this is not something we can do in one day. But what I can say is that with all the effort that we are putting in, the cluster we have got, the research, the responsible AI cluster with Karnatak University, with Bangalore University, with many other universities in Karnataka, perhaps this is one avenue we can explore. Can we have something called, let's say, Karnatak Digital Twin Network, similar to Wales Digital Twin Network? Can we have this sort of network which can work closely with our network, and we can exchange the technological support, and we can exchange the ideas, and maybe we can aim to solve, if not all, maybe 50-60% of what you provided in the final slide. I know it's a very ambitious thing, thanks for putting it together, but at least we can make an effort. So that's my comment. Sorry for taking it so much longer.
That encourages me so much, and also the youngsters back in Bangalore University, we will try. That's the reason why I said this is the first step towards MU and KUD coming together in terms of the joint ventures, academic ventures that we are going to. Maybe a little bit of, problematic, but still we will be able to do it. We have a very young, Vice Chancellor here, we will be able to take it up.
Yeah, perhaps, and thank you. Perhaps next time, Professor Khan, when we are doing any activity within the responsible AI cluster, whether it is a webinar or whether it is, why not create this as a track in the next conference, ICRI conference? So maybe this is the right time to start putting those words into action. Otherwise, we will come to these venues, we'll discuss, and things will just disappear. So this is the right time to start making the promises which we are able to execute as soon as we can.
We will thank you.
Thank you
so much, my dear friends.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. Now I request Dr. Vishwanath, sir, to present a small gift as a token of appreciation to Professor Dharma, sir.
Now you take the photo.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So next, we have made a lunch arrangement here towards my right. So all of you can have lunch and join the next session. The presentation will begin after the lunch. So presentation will be the rule number 1.